national policies for the businesses.
We do not just witness change, we drive it. Our Water Audit Center and Center for Sustainability are benchmarks for a green
security and protection of critical infrastructure. I would request people in the back, please come and sit. I would request you to kindly be seated, please. We are actually waiting for the Joint Secretary Police Modernization. He'll be joining any moment. In the meantime, we'll start with the permission of the chair. Thank you, sir. Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Special welcome to the people from CAPF. And we also have some defense attaches who have joined for this important conference. Thank you, sir, for being here. This conference on the perimeter security, smart borders and secured facilities, the future of critical infrastructure protection amidst emerging threats. We were actually discussing with our chair and Colonel Kuber that this is a subject which needs an important, this is a very utmost attention. And we somehow planned with all the stakeholders in mind. And we got all the key players in this sector to deliberate upon the subject. As India's strategic infrastructure continues to expand, safeguarding our borders, industrial facilities, transportation networks, energy assets, and public spaces have become more critical than ever. The nature of security threat is evolving rapidly, driven by technological advancement, asymmetric warfare, cyber-physical risks, and the increasing use of unmanned systems. These challenges call for integrated, technology-driven, and future-ready security solutions. And that is why we are here to deliberate upon the subject. I would like to invite the chair of the PHDCCI Defense and HLS Committee, Shri Ashok Atluri ji, and the Managing Director of Zen Technologies to kindly come on the dais, please. Shri Ashok Atluri ji. We have Colonel K.V. Kuber, the Director, Aerospace and Defense, EY, and the knowledge partner for this important conference. Colonel K.V. Kuber. We also have with us, we have an important company in the perimeter security, Avon Fence Products Company Private Limited, and we have Shri Manish Bhosle, the Tech Lead Perimeter Solutions. Shri Manish Bhosle ji. Thank you, Shri Manish Bhosle ji. And we also, we are waiting for the Joint Secretary Police Modernization. He's on the way. There was a meeting with the Home Secretary, an important meeting, so he has just started and will be reaching in some time. In the meantime, we are starting with this important conference. To begin the proceedings of this important conference, I would request everyone on the dais, off the dais, to kindly stand for the national anthem. Thank you. Once again, a welcome to all the delegates. We have people from Army Design Bureau also. And I would request the companies to interact with them. We have a small exhibition also of about 4 companies. They are displaying their products and their new technologies. To begin the proceedings, I would request Shri Ashok Atluri, the Chair of PHDCCI Defense and HLS Committee and CMD of Zen Technologies Limited, to kindly give a welcome address. Shri Ashok Atluri ji.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all for the National Conference on Perimeter Security, the future of critical infrastructure protection amidst emerging threats. On behalf of PGDCCI, Defense and Homeland Security Committee, I extend a warm welcome to our distinguished chief guest who's coming in some time, Shri Prasanna ji, and of course my co-panelists on the stage, Colonel K.V. Kuber and Manish Bhosle ji. I also extend my heartfelt welcome to our distinguished speakers, panelists, representatives from armed forces, CAPFs, Ministry of Home Affairs, government departments, industry leaders, innovators, academicians, members of the media, and all delegates who have joined us today. Friends, the security environment is changing rapidly. Our borders, critical infrastructure, industrial facilities, transportation networks, power grids, airports, ports, and public spaces face increasingly sophisticated threats. conventional security measures alone are no longer sufficient. The future lies in integrated solutions powered by AI, smart surveillance, advanced sensors, command and control centers, automation, and all of these should be indigenous technologies. Again, I'm a big proponent of indigenous technologies, and we should, I recommend, I request the government agencies that are there, even if you have a 60-70% indigenously verified designed technology available versus 100% technology, please go for the indigenous technology, especially if it has been the companies capable of evolving to the next thing. What happens is it's a virtuous cycle that happens. When you invest in a company, in an Indian company that has already developed, at 70% you invest money, the money goes back into the R&D, and the next product is not 100 but 110%. So that is fastest, and you have to do fast, because the R&D people don't stay forever, they leave the company. If you do fast especially, I'm not talking about the resellers, I'm not talking about the dealers, I'm talking about the innovators. If you can actually invest in them, they will come up with a product that's 110% in a year or so, and then you're actually creating not an Indian company, but a global company. So I would, urge all the, stakeholders from the government departments, please focus on companies that are indigenously designing, developing, and manufacturing the products. So India has made remarkable progress in building a robust defense homeland security ecosystem. Under the Atmanirbhar Bharat, our industry is developing world-class technologies that are only strengthening national security, but are also finding acceptance in global markets. So Ministry of Defense has already implemented this Buy Indian IDDM, which says if there is an indigenously designed, developed, and manufactured company, the biggest hurdle they face is, single vendor situation. You have created IP for the first time, but you still find it difficult to sell to the, defense has done it, but CAPFs and state police forces and other critical infrastructure people should also embrace the idea that if you want a company that is really created for first time IP, it is going to be single vendor here. And how do you embrace them and bring them up to the world global standard? That's by buying and not harassing them by saying that, we will dilute the specifications of the product so that others can buy it. Famously, my co-founder said that, they'll start with a NASA rocket, but then they'll finally settle down for a Sevkasi rocket. That is acceptable, not acceptable. So please go for the toughest specification, because you are creating a company that is going to compete globally. And today's conference brings together policymakers, security practitioners, technology developers, industry leaders on one platform to deliberate on practical solutions for protecting our critical assets. The discussions on smart border management, integrated surveillance, urban infrastructure protection, and industry security will undoubtedly provide valuable insights. I take this opportunity to thank our speakers, partners, participating organization, and the entire PhD CCI team for their commitment and support in making this conference possible. I am confident that today's deliberations will contribute meaningfully to strengthening India's perimeter security ecosystem and encourage greater collaboration among all the stakeholders. With these words, I once again welcome all of you and wish you an insightful, engaging, and highly productive conference. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And you rightly mentioned that obviously we should invest more on R&D, and we should be very timely, and so that we do not miss the global competition. And we have many companies, sir, here, present here. They are working on indigenization. They have developed products which are totally indigenized. And even if we get a chance, there's a choice, then we should focus on the indigenized products. Now we have Colonel K.V. Kuber, the retired Indian Army veteran, and the Director of Aerospace and Defense, EY LLP. And he would present a theme address about the perimeter security and what lies for the industry in India.
Thank you, Nazir. So when Dr. Nazir was thinking about what we should do next, and we were thinking as to what is the most important agenda that could engage stakeholders, Then we said, let's talk something about security. And this is the first time that PhDCC is organizing this. And thanks to Avon Fence, they have been really very kind, and they came forward and they had really shaped the whole conference. So I'm not going to talk about any technologies. I'm not going to talk about, because that will be covered by people, because being a theme address, I just want to focus on certain important issues. So respected guests, dignitaries on the stage, ladies and gentlemen. There's an old saying in Sanskrit, and I want to begin with that. Rashtrasya moolam surakshaha. Sometimes we tend to forget this. Rashtrasya moolam surakshaha. The foundation of a nation is in its security. The foundation of a nation is in its security. Let's not ever at any time forget that security is the one that's going to actually stand good for the nation always and every time. Every civilization has learned this lesson. Some have learned it through wisdom, and some have learned it through conflict. Today, as we gather here to talk about smart borders and secured facilities, we are actually discussing something much larger. We are discussing as to how nations survive in an age where threats travel faster than armies, where borders are crossed without footsteps, and where infrastructure becomes the battlefield. I should give you a story from the Mahabharata. Nothing like the Kurukshetra war. It has got examples for every discipline of warfare. And I'm going to give you one, maybe a slightly different perspective than what you've seen before. Allow me to begin not with modern technology, but with the Kurukshetra war. Whenever we think of the Chakravyuha, we remember Abhimanyu. We remember bravery. We remember sacrifice. But as soldiers and strategists, there is another lesson. The Chakravyuha was perhaps the world's earliest recorded example of layered defense. It was not a single wall. It consisted of concentric defensive wings. If one layer failed, another engaged. If one flank weakened, another compensated. It was dynamic. It was evolving. It was adaptive. It was intelligent. In today's language, we could probably call it multi-layered integrated security architecture. And perhaps there is an important lesson in this for all of us. No single fence ever protected a nation. It was always the integration of observation, intelligence, communication, mobility, leadership, and timely decision making. Ladies and gentlemen, technology changes, principles endure. Let's follow this principle. Another timeless wisdom, and this time from Kautilya. Prajasuke sukham rajnyaha prajnanam cha hite hitam. I'll say that again because it's very intense. Prajasuke sukham rajnyaha prajanam cha hite hitam. The happiness and security of the people constitute the happiness and security of a state. More than 2000 years later, that remains the first responsibility of every government. For decades, security meant protection of territory. Today it means protecting connectivity, because if electricity grid stops, the economy stops. If a port is paralyzed, trade stops, communications fail, governance stops. The battlefield has shifted, ladies and gentlemen. It now includes airports, ports, power grids, oil refineries, metro rail systems, financial networks, space assets, and increasingly our digital infrastructure. Critical infrastructure is no longer a supporting national power. It is the national power. The nature of threats have changed. As soldiers, we were trained to look across the border. Today, we must look upwards, we must look downwards, we must look into cyberspace, we must look into the electromagnetic spectrum. The adversary may not wear a uniform at all. He may arrive as a drone worth less than a motorcycle, a malicious software written from another continent, an insider carrying a USB drive, an autonomous swarm, or an AI-generated deception campaign capable of creating panic even before the first shot is fired. The old distinction between physical security and cyber security has actually disappeared. Today, perimeter extends to the electromagnetic spectrum. Let's see some lessons from the world. The Russia-Ukraine conflict has fundamentally rewritten military thinking. Who would have imagined that drones costing a few $1,000s repeatedly threaten strategic bombers worth hundreds of millions? Who would have imagined that commercial satellites would become operational intelligence assets? Or that artificial intelligence could help identify military targets in real near time? The lesson is profound. Technology has democratized lethality. Power is no longer measured by the size of the army, it's measured by the size of innovation. Let us just learn it from Ukraine. If Ukraine is able to sustain today, it's just the power of innovation, and they are repeatedly threatening Russia. It's a very, very great lesson for any country that hopes to be on top of this battle. Close at home, attacks on critical infrastructure in the Middle East demonstrated how precision strikes can create strategic economic consequences far beyond the battlefield. The Nord Stream pipeline incident reminded the world that infrastructure lying unseen beneath the sea can alter geopolitics overnight. Major airports, hospitals, ports across the world have suffered cyber attacks without a single missile being fired. Battlefield has expanded, infrastructure is a strategic target. In all this, what is India's reality? 15,000 kilometers of land borders, 7,500 kilometers of coastline, island territories, world's busiest ports, expanding civil aviation network, energy corridor, space assets, defense production facilities, and a rapidly digitizing economy. We confront conventional threats all the time, and we confront internal threats all the time. Cross-border terrorism, drone-based smuggling, illegal migration, cyber attacks, critical infrastructure sabotage, gray zone warfare, and increasingly hybrid warfare, where the first attack may not even be kinetic. India therefore cannot afford isolated security solutions. We require integrated security ecosystems. How do we move from barbed wires to smart borders? I've had the privilege of serving on our borders. I remember an era when the border post just relied upon a soldier, a searchlight, a radio set, and a barbed wire. Today, the same border may employ smart fencing, ground surveillance radars, EO sensors, IR detectors, thermal imagers, AI-enabled analytics, satellite communications, counter-drone systems, and integrated command centers, and the soldier remains at the center. Never forget the soldier there. He remains at the center. But today, technology has also become his most trusted soulmate and a teammate. There are a number of technologies that are shaping the battlefield of tomorrow, like AI, ML, multi-domain sensor fusion, smart fencing, electro-optics, thermal imaging, acoustic sensors, command and control centers, counter-UAS, digital twins, robotics, edge computing, quantum-safe communications, persistent surveillance, and allow me to suggest something. These technologies individually are extremely impressive. Collectively, they are transformational. So let's go for the collective transformational technology that we are looking for. The future is not AI, ladies and gentlemen. The future is integration. In the global leadership across the world has demonstrated certain things. Israel demonstrated the border can be an intelligent network. Singapore demonstrated ports can become digitally secure systems. US has shown how AI and persistent surveillance can transform critical infrastructure protection. South Korea has built one of the world's most sophisticated integrated border surveillance architectures. And India, Through innovation, through programs such as the Comprehensive Integrated Border Management System, the Coastal Surveillance, indigenous counter-drone technologies, vibrant startup ecosystem is steadily emerging as an important technology leader in this domain. I believe the next decade belongs not to those who import technology, but those who create it. And this is where I really support what Ashok Atluri just said. You know, I've seen Zen, the way he has brought it up from a small MSME, and we were fighting at that time, you know, MSMEs should get this. Now, that is the transformation that technology that can be created that's the magic that the technology which creates can do. The question is, are we winning? And this is perhaps the most important question. Are we winning? The answer is yes. Is it good enough? The answer is no. Technology has improved detection, reduced reaction times, enhanced situational awareness, improved command decisions, but every technological leap is answered by an equally innovative adversary. Drones have become smarter, counter drones have to catch up. AI has become more capable, adversarial AI is probably leaping ahead of AI. Security, therefore, cannot be purchased once, ladies and gentlemen. It must be continuously reinvented. Let me conclude with the way ahead. I want to quote now from the greatest books of all times, the Rig Veda. Sangachadvam samvadatvam samvo manamsi janatham. Sangha is collaboration. Sangha gacha, move together. Samvada, speak together. Samvo manasi janatham, let your minds work together. If there is one lesson, it's no single organization can secure a nation, neither the government, nor the industry, nor the armed forces, nor the academia. Innovation today lies in the intersection of all the four. The conference itself is a reflection of that spirit. Government leaders are here, the technology developers are here, the industry, the security practitioners have come together to shape the next generation of smart borders in this hall of PhDCC. And I think we are going to probably bring out some very important lessons. Today, we are not becoming merely a consumer of security technologies, becoming steadily emerging as a creator, a developer, an exporter. Conferences such as this and platforms like the India Fence Expo in September from Nuremberg, Messe, which I see is following very soon. I think these are the ones that are important milestone in that journey. I'm therefore delighted that such platforms organized by Nuremberg and Yashobhumi will bring together policymakers, developers, take this forward and bring about certain incubations of ideas, partnerships and innovation. As India advances towards becoming a global leader in security technologies, such collaborative platforms play an increasing important role. One final thought. I cannot leave you without quoting what Chanakya said. Udyoginam Purushasimham Upaiti Lakshmihi. Udyoginam Lakshmihi, prosperity. Prosperity follows those who are courageous in enterprise. Udyoginam. Udyoginam Purushasimham. Courageous in enterprise will get you. So, ladies and gentlemen, the future of perimeter security is not about building higher walls. It's about smarter nations, nations that can sense before they see, predict before they react, connect before they coordinate, and deter even before they fight. The strongest border is not the one that's most heavily guarded. It is the most that is intelligently protected. Yesterday the question was, how do we guard the border? Today the question is, how do we make the border think? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the theme. It is beautifully articulated. Thank you so much, sir. And we have also, Colonel Kuber has also prepared a report on perimeter security, which we will be releasing when the JSPM is here. In the meantime, I would request Shri Manish Bhosle, the tech leader, Perimeter Solutions, A1 Fence Products Company Private Limited, the main partner for this conference, to kindly give the industry address.
Yeah, need a PPT. Can I have one? One sec. So, morning everyone, and thank you, Mr. Jamal, and the way Colonel Kuber has given the inputs, or rather spoke about the security and need of perimeter protection. I think I'm also going to speak on those lines, and it's just the same thing, and what I'm going to do is reinforce it. So, respected dignitaries, senior official, member of government, security professionals, and my fellow participants, it's a privilege to be here today at the National Conference of Perimeter Security on the subject which is becoming more important every passing day. The protection of our borders is critical, and also of the secured facilities. So when we talk about perimeter security, many people would think about a fence, a gate, or a wall. That's a general perception. But today, the perimeter security is much more than boundaries. It's about time. It's about how quickly can we detect the threat, how much time we can delay an intruder, how fast a response team can act, and how safely can we protect our borders, assets, and our nation. The real role of perimeter security today is the same: how we can detect the threat, how we can delay it, how a response team can act, and how we can safely protect our people. Few years ago, the discussion around border security was mostly about physical fencing, patrol roads, lightning, as already mentioned, and manpower. All of this is still very important, but the nature of threats have changed. Today, the threat can come through difficult terrains, illegal movements, drones, coordinated intrusions, sabotage, and even cyber physical attacks, where a physical and a digital security systems are targeted together. So the question before us is simple: can yesterday's perimeter security approach protect tomorrow's infrastructure? And I believe the answer is yes, but only if we upgrade our thinking. So let us take an example of Indo-Myanmar border. The border is not only a line on the map. It passes through difficult terrains, hill, forest, villages, communities, water bodies. And India shares about 1,643 kilometers of border with Myanmar. The government of India have already announced fencing along these borders, along with patrol tracks, hybrid surveillance, patrols in Arunachal Pradesh and Manipur. This tells us one important thing: the future border will not be only a physical border, it will be a smart, standardized, and integrated border. And this is where the specification standardization becomes very important. Many times, when a security project is planned, we only focus on product name. But in real security project, the bigger question is different. Like, what is the threat level? What delay is required? What kind of terrain is there? How will system perform in heat, rain, dust, snow, corrosion, and rough conditions? How will it integrate with cameras, sensors, radars, lightning, command centers, and response team? And most importantly, how we will maintain it after installation. If these points are not clearly defined, two suppliers may also offer two systems that looks exactly same on the paper, but perform very differently on the ground. That is why we need standardization, not only for purchase, but also for performance. A border fence in a plain area cannot be treated as same fence in a hilly or a forest region. A fence for data center cannot be same as fence for a warehouse. A fence for a public utility cannot be same as a fence for strategic installation. The real solution is not the product. The real solution is the right design for right threat. At Avon, this is something we have learned through experience, and we started it about 1998 in Mumbai and has grown into India perimeter security solution provider with in-house R&D, solution designs, manufacturing and systems designs to recognize standards such as ASTM, BS and EN. But today, I don't want to speak about Avon as a manufacturer, but also of the ecosystem what we can work together as. I want to speak about the larger role of Indian OEMs in this sector. India does not only need imported solutions for Indian conditions. India needs solution designed with the understanding of Indian terrains, Indian climate, Indian project realities, Indian maintenance challenges, and Indian security requirements. Our deserts are different, our mountains are different, our coastal areas are different, our bodies and industrial corridors are different, so our security solutions must also be different. And to be designed with the reality in the mind, Indian OEMs can understand this site, they can customize the systems, they can support installation, respond faster during service, and work closely with agencies, consultants, system integrators, and infrastructures to create a practical and scalable solution. Now let's talk about smartization of borders. Smart borders does not mean replacing the physical security. It means making physical security more intelligent. A sensor detects, a fence delays, a camera verifies, a command center decides, a response team acts. If these things are not connected, the system is incomplete. The fence is no longer a standalone system. It is a part of larger security ecosystem. In a high-risk area, a physical fence may need to work with ground sensors, AI-enabled cameras, radars, thermal imaging, drone detection, lightning, petrol tracks, and a command and control room. But technology should not become a collection of independent items. It should become one connected system. During a real incident, nobody has time to check 5 different screens and call 3 different teams and then decide what to do. A smart perimeter should give clarity whether the threat, where is the threat, what is the threat, who needs to respond, and how fast we can act. And this is the purpose of smartization. But while we speak about technology, we must remain practical. A security system is not security system is not successful on the day of inauguration. It is successful when it performs after 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. It is successful when the maintenance teams can maintain it. Spare parts are available, users are trained, and system does not fail silently. Today, India is building airports, ports, highways, metro networks, industrial corridors, power assets, data centers, defense facilities, and smart cities. All of them need perimeter security. But they do not need security as an afterthought. When security is added at the end, it becomes a compromise. When security is planned from the beginning, it becomes stronger, cleaner, and most cost effective. I would like to close on one thought. For many years, we have looked perimeter security as a line of defense, but the time has come to look at it as a system of confidence. A strong perimeter gives time, a smart perimeter gives information, a standardized perimeter gives reliability, an integrated perimeter gives response, and an Indian built perimeter gives you self-reliance, Atmanirbharta. The future of perimeter security will not be built by one company, one product, or one technology. It will be built through collaboration between government, security agencies, infrastructure owners, consultants, system integrators, technology providers, and Indian OEMs. At Avon, we are committed to begin this part of journey not only as a supplier but as a solution partner, learning from the field, understanding the challenges, and contributing to the safer and more secure India. Thank you. Jai Bharat, Jai Hind.
Thank you, Manishi. Thank you. I think the kind of solutions you have brought in Avon's Fence Product Company Private Limited. I think JSPM is also here. So once again, sir, we would like to welcome you on behalf of PAGCCI and all the delegates. We would like to welcome you for this conference. Sir has especially mentioned that I would like to hear more from the industry. Any questions? He wants to be more, he doesn't want to give a speech. He wants me to be more interactive with the industry people. So I would request some of the questions which can be asked from the industry, maybe from our partners. So we would be more interested. If Kiran, if you have some question for the JSPM or anyone, so he'd be more interested in that. And we have prepared a report also, sir, on perimeter security, which is prepared by Sugosha Advisory in association with PAGCCI. So we'd also be releasing a report before we conclude this session, and the next second session would be chaired by you, just starting after this. Okay, sir. So if any questions are there, or if you can kindly briefly address, if you would like to, sir. You can address from there also, sir. You have a mic there also, you can come here also, sir.
Good morning to you all. I have not prepared any speech for this meeting. Yeah. So last time when we came for this PhD chamber event, there were certain issues that was raised. So we have started addressing those issues one by one. One of the initiatives that we have taken is that with respect to the ammunitions, so we recently had a meeting with the industry partners. So right now some of the ammunitions are earmarked only for DPSUs. So we are given the quantity and also the procurement that will be done this year and also in the next 5 years to the industry. And if the industry is ready to make those ammunitions, then we are ready to open up those restrictive clauses to the industries. So hopefully once the industry comes back to us, we'll clear that. The second request that was asked is that to do away with the STEC trials. If the STEC trial is already done by any of the MHA organizations or MOD organizations, that order is being issued today. So that will be valid for 2 years. If one organization, for example, if BSF has done this trial or DGQ has done this trial, then the other procurement agencies in MHA need not have to do the same STEC trial for 2 years. They can use the old one. That has been also issued. Third is that they asked for the problem statement. I think already it has been shared with the thing. And also in the last meeting, I said that we are planning to start a new society called as IPEX on the pattern of IDEX. That has been approved by the competent authority in our MHA, and shortly we'll be taking up with other ministries for the approval. IDEX. And there are suggestions from Kuber and other people who are here last time that you have to adopt certain features of the defense purchase policy. So in that IPEX while procurement, we are factoring in those procurement policies of Ministry of Defense so that we'll be able to directly purchase it from the startup or MSME with whom we are going to enter into an MOU. There will be of course a challenge, and if the MSME or the startup is ready to build the product and the product is successful without any tendering process, we'll purchase it directly from those. That is being provided in that IPEX that we have designed, but it will take some more time. It will take few months to fructify. It's the job has started formally. Then I think what are the other issues that were flagged? And for regular interaction between MHA and industry, so whatever PhD Chamber of Commerce suggests, we are there to create a formal mechanism for interaction between the private industries and others. So if you tell us what are the other issues that is hindering the private sector participation in the procurement process, please let us know, because in the next 3 months, we are going to change QRTDs of many of the products also. And also we are coming with new guidelines for ease of procurement in MHA. So if you have any solid suggestion with a rationale, then please let us know. Though we'll consider and examine it, and we'll take it up at the earliest. With respect to perimeter security, as you know, one of the important challenges that India faces right now is in the border areas. Though I don't deal with the border management, it's another vertical in the MHA. A lot of emphasis is being given for the border areas. I think someone from the border management division will be there who will be able to give you much clarity about what is being planned. But other than that, we have recently approved the modernization plan 5. Right now we are in the mod 4, in mod 5. We have kept a considerable budget for surveillance. So that includes procurement of latest surveillance instruments like BOS, LOROS, PTZ cameras, etc. For the border areas, and also for CSF in airport security. We are coming with new projects and new budgets, more budgets for airport security also. Once we get an in-principle approval, then we'll be able to give you much better clarity on what is being planned for the next 3 years. So hopefully, I think a budget of almost around 1,000 crores, around 500 to 1,000 crores is being planned only for the surveillance sector from PM division for border areas and also for airport and other vital installations also. We are working on it. It will take some more time for us to finalize it. So surveillance is going to be one of the crucial areas where MHA is going to concentrate in the next 3 months, and especially in the border areas. And also we are exploring usage of satellite technologies also in the surveillance. So it's in the at one level we are already doing, border management division is already doing, but from PM division side also we are exploring how to plan it for the future, so that even we are even thinking of launching our own satellites also for surveillance in the coming years to come in partnership with ISRO, so that we have dedicated surveillance system on a real-time basis. But it's in the discussion stage right now. So we are exploring the various future technologies that is possible with respect to surveillance scenario. So maybe in the next technical sessions, when the industry is able to present, we will also able to understand what industry can do. And maybe after a month or so, we can have a small group discussion where we can share our problem statement also with respect to surveillance technology. And if the industry is able to come up, we'll be able to procure them also. So MHA is open to collaboration with the private sector, and we are ready to simplify the procedures also. Though we may not be able to do like a Ministry of Defense, because they work in a different league, but within what is possible within our own GFRs and the exception that can be granted, we are trying to simplify the procedures and fasten the procurement process in MHA. So looking forward to the interaction in the first technical session. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. We must applaud once again. Why? Because the kind of action he has taken since the last program we had done, sir. And we can call him the action man, sir. You have taken point-wise, and you have actually taken action upon them. And the results are now coming. And he has said that the surveillance would be an important area for the MHA. And dedicated budget has also been allocated. So this is very, very encouraging, sir. And as suggested by you, we will do a regular interactive session, sir. Colonel Sahab, we'll have to do that. We'll have to create a kind of system for that. Thank you so much, sir, for your encouraging address. I would now request the dignitaries on the dais. There's a report on perimeter security, to kindly release this report. So before we break very briefly for tea, so we'll release the report, sir, first. I would call Ankur also on the stage. He has prepared the report, so you please come on the stage. Please. Thank you, sir. We have a very important session on the border security, border management. Just briefly break for 10 minutes for tea, and then we'll start the session. I would, before we break this for this session, I would request our chair for the Defense and HLS Committee, Shri Ashok Aturi ji, to kindly present a memento to Prasanna sir. We'll have question and answer session, sir. Yeah. Yeah, he'll be there, sir, will be there. Sir, he's here to take questions. He doesn't believe in speech, he believes in interaction only. So he'll be there. Thank you, sir. I would also request Ashok ji to present a memento to Manish Bhosle ji. I would also request Ashok ji to kindly present a memento to Colonel Kuber. And Colonel Kuber, thanks for the report. And we'll submit a post-event report to JSPM office also after the conference, sir. So we briefly break for tea, and then we come back for the next session. Only 10 minutes break, please. And integrated surveillance, where we would like to discuss on the smart fencing systems, which even JSPM talked about, and we had in the theme address also. AI-powered surveillance, radar and IR systems, and sensor integration, command and control centers, and UAV and counter-UAV surveillance solutions. So these are the key areas which are actually required for the internal security and external security. So this session will be moderated by Major Bharat Singh, the Manager Defense Business, A1 Fence Products. I would invite Major Bharat Singh to kindly come on the dais. Major Bharat, he'll be moderating this session. We have important panelist, Shri Nilab Ayodhya Singh, General Manager and Country Head, Magal Security, Magal Solutions. Nilab ji, kindly come on the dais, please. We have Ms. Meenakshi Singh, the Director, JMB LPS Limited. Meenakshi ji, please come on the dais. Colonel Arvind Mulimani, Retired Vice President Projects, Air Defense, Zen Technologies. Colonel Arvind, sir. Colonel Clarence Bisham, Retired GM, Sales and Business Development, Idea Forge. Colonel Bisham, we met in the morning. Hi, come. Shri Kiran Raju, the Founder and CEO of Indrajal. Thank you, Kiran, for being a part of this session. Shri Vinay Vasisht, the Director, Remcon Security. Vinay ji, they are working very much on indigenization in these systems. Major Ranjan Bhatia, Manager, Punjab National Bank, talk about the financial aspect. And Shri Ranjit Sinha, Director, Strategic Initiatives, Midcat Advisory. I would request everyone to kindly be seated, and I will like to hand over. JSPM sir is here, and JSPM would like to listen to all the industry, and he would also take questions from the panelists and also from the industry audience. Okay. So I would like to now hand over to Major Bharat Singh, the Manager, A1 Fence Products, to kindly take this forward.
Thank you, sir. Okay, sir. We'll start. Sir, with your permission, respected Chief Guest, Guest of Honor, Chairperson of Defense and Homeland Security, PSD CCI, esteemed panelists, senior officers from Defense Forces, academia, and industry. At the very outset, I would like to thank PSD CCI for organizing this event, because if we talk of today's security for borders, it has become a subject of national resilience. It is no longer a troop is standing, as Colonel Kuber was mentioning, with some fence or physical barrier. As on today, the borders, when we talk about borders, we are there guarding everything with change of operational capabilities and the character of operations. It is not only borders that we have to safeguard. we have to safeguard all the critical infrastructures, ops and logistic bases, single point of failures. So when we talk about security at borders, it is no more restricted only to the entry exit or a demarcatory line. It includes the critical infrastructure which is at borders to some extent. With time, the technology has changed, and as we are mentioning, as we are talking that we are fighting a warfare which is very, very complex in nature. We are talking of drones, we are talking of cyber physical attacks, we are talking of coordinated intrusion attempts. I will say that the technology has developed itself to an extent that one single incident of security can actually affect land, border, sea, and even EM spectrum. So we have to be prepared, thorough. And this is the crux of having this panel discussion. We will not restrict ourselves to only some ideas. And to make it interesting, what I have done, that I'll not be asking the questions directly to the panelist. I'll create a narrative. And one very fine thing which I wanted, and I feel proud to say that yesterday when I was preparing this narrative, I wanted to give some name to this exercise. So initially I thought that since I'm talking about border security, let me give it name as Ops Suraksha. But then something triggered in my mind. And you will also realize, these are the realizations, no government policy, no people around you will tell you, but these are the realizations within. I thought for a second, am I really talking about security? Am I really talking about defense? No, this is what we are taught in defense forces as well, that the best defense is the offensive defense. And we have to talk of that. I am no more dependent, neither our forces or our teaching in defense forces tells us that you have to wait for the response of your enemy and then you have to act accordingly. No, I am already at forefront. So with this and with permission from chair, we will start. And I would request panel to keep the answers very, very crisp because we will be running short of time. We have already started little late. So, and I'll paint a picture first, then I'll have one small presentation, and then we will start with question and answers. So I would request everybody in the audience to involve themselves and imagine yourself as the operational commander on ground. You are wearing that hat. And imagine that it is 2 o'clock of a winter night. Nothing is moving, everything is silent. Your troops are guarding that critical border. And suddenly at 2:05, after 5 minutes, your aerial surveillance grid detects something approaching the border at a very, very fast pace. You are yet to decide whether it is a bird, is it any kind of surveillance drone, is it a warhead drone, or is it any kind of decoy? You are yet to decide. As you were dealing with this situation of identifying and then assessing what is that, you suddenly realize that your ground short-range radars, both the human detection and drone detection radars, have confirmed that something is moving in. Your human detection radar has also said that there is some kind of activity which is happening along the track which is approaching our post. So the dilemma increases. The commander on ground has to take a call, and that call has to be taken very fast. Otherwise, drone will not wait for our response. All these things are happening in the command and control center where you are sitting, and suddenly at 2:10 you receive a signal on your radio set stating that some breach in the fence has been detected, and same has been confirmed by the perimeter intrusion detection systems which are deployed, and the cameras have also confirmed that around 4 people are trying to intrude. You can imagine what kind of situation it is. And all these feed of your drone detection systems, your radars, your cameras, and intrusion detection systems is given to you at a site. You have to decide, you have to take actions. What will you do? Where do we stand with those kind of preparations? These are some of the questions which we will be discussing and talking about. I would request you to follow with me during this, and we will, I would say that post-mortem each and every situation that we have discussed about, and we will find answers to this. I think that is the best way to make it more and more interactive. All of us, as I mentioned, that we will start with the small presentation, and this will be given by Sri Neelav Ayodhya Singh, which is from Magal Security Systems. I would request, let's keep it very crisp, sir. I welcome you all.
Respected chief guest, panel members, and my dear fellow industry members. I'll start with the presentation. I'm Neelab Singh from Magal Solutions. As you can see in the tagline, integrate to innovate. We believe in delivering seamless integrated solutions to critical sites. Magal is founded in Israel in 1969, and it's serving critical sites since 56 years. In the interest of time, I'll be a little bit fast. We are part of the Rafael group. Rafael is an industry leader for air, underwater, and for space defense in Israel. And we are proud to be the group HLS integrator for them. We are also the sensor OEM, especially for perimeter domain, and we have offices in multiple countries. This is Israel. Magal has given command and control solutions to many establishments. We have given smart sensors to the perimeter. We have secured seaports, all of their Air Force bases and airports for Israel. And then the groups come into the picture, and with the capability of the group, we have done almost A to Z for Israel solution. Rafael has done the kinetic anti-drone solution, anti-missile solution for them. Then Aeronautics is a UAV company. We have Controp as electro-optical cameras. And then we also have a very important company, which is DSIT, which is for maritime underwater detection. So total, the group has done more than 93% of Israeli security requirements for the border. I'll skip this. Just one important factor. We are doing a lot of airports in India, Delhi one of them. We work in 4 verticals: borders, seaports, oil and gas, and critical sites such as airports, prisons, government facilities. I'll talk shortly on the border concept. Just imagine this as a border area, and if the perimeter can be deployed, then we have perimeter solutions if that terrain allows that. Other than that, we can put long poles for long-range surveillance. We have UAVs in our group. We have mobile, if the terrain is motorable, we can have mobile-mounted devices. We can have response launchers, radars, and signal intelligence devices, all combined together to a regional command and control, which in fact is connected to the patrolling vehicles and to the national command and control. This is the concept that we propagate and promote when we talk about a border. All of these solutions may not be applicable to a single location, but it all depends on the terrain and the environment. Similarly, checkpoint is properly protected with solutions, including anti-drone solutions. This is our heart of the system. This is our command and control solution, which is top of the line C5I classification. This integrates to each and every solution that we just spoke about, and it is specially designed for homeland security users. The solution is installed on-prem, and it's a single pane of glass through which we can see the whole site. Meaning, if you have a radar or optothermal camera or any other device installed, you don't need to switch between screens, switch between panels to view them. Everything is integrated to the single platform. It has a full GIS engine inside so that UTM coordinates are available for autonomous drone operations. Also, there are devices available for mobile and for patrolling vehicles. Magal is an OEM for multiple perimeter based solutions. We have lot of fences with us. We have fence mounted sensors. We have volumetric sensors. All of these are in-house products and we are using them for more than 50 years. So they have developed over time. Regarding counter UAVs, this is a very short brief, but we are more into kinetic domain. We believe there are 3 layers. First is the detection layer, then the soft kill layer, and then comes the hard kill layer. And Rafael as a group is more into hard kill. They have interceptor drones and they have other technologies to, including laser beam, to kill the drones. Then this company, one slide for underwater, and mainly what I want to emphasize about the solutions for land, solutions for air, and solutions for sea time, all are integrated to the same platform, because without integration, the information has no value. And I'll not go over this. I would just like to conclude with one line that we are pioneers in this field. We have in-house hardware, in-house software, and we are doing it over more than 50 years for Israel and other countries. So we are ready for interaction. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nilab. All right, let's get started. And first, I'll recap what we were talking about, that you are the operational commander. You are in your command and control center. You have to take tough decisions and quick decisions, which are not only affecting you, but affecting the national security. The first situation, it is 0205. The command and control center has detected some movement of suspected aerial things. I would like to invite Colonel Clarence Becham. Sir, had you been in that situation, I would like to know that what would have been happening in the background. What are the capabilities of drone detection and classification systems at present, and in future, how do you say that, see that indigenous drone detection and surveillance systems capabilities of India are going towards?
Okay, thank you for the question, and I thank Mr. Nilab Singh for giving us 5 minutes to think about the question that was asked to us. Okay, so what I'm facing as a commander at a place, there's a drone that's coming in, which has been detected, and what is happening behind where my troops are deployed. So when a drone approaches any place for an intent that it's supposed to do, there are basically 5 or 6 parameters what I think get involved. There's a multi-layered channel that comes into place, primarily performing the DRI, the detection, recognition, and identification of the drone. Having said that, there are layers that are placed in our borders. Since a drone does not require, it can surpass the fences, it can surpass any boundary wall. So the first contact that it actually should come into are the radars. The radars will detect, the RF sensors will detect, the EOIR sensors will detect. Thereafter, the data will be processed to a command center, from where directions will be passed how to engage the drone, whether it should be a soft kill, whether it's a small drone, whether it can be tackled by EW methods, or a hard kill has to be given. Thereafter, there'll be a PSDA that will be carried out, and whatever data has to be removed from the drone will be removed. Now, having said that, what is actually happening on ground? On ground, the radar has picked up the drone at the longest distance. The radar will pick up the drone. It'll convert it probably in, there are different kind of radars that are that we have in our country, and probably each year we are just bettering those radars. This radar will form a radar cross section which will come onto the screen out there. Now, depending on the radar cross section that is being received on the radar, so I'll just give you a breakdown on how a cross section works. The RCS actually gives its output on something called as a DPSM. So the DPSM value of it dictates on what is the threat that's coming to you. Like for example, a stealth bomber. A stealth bomber per se will give you a DPSM value of about -40 to -30 DPSM. Like it was being said, could it be a bird, could it be a UAV? So a bird probably will give you a very minimal DPSM value also. An aircraft will give you a DPSM value of, let's say, +30 to +40. So depending on that DPSM value, the radar picks up this signature. That DPSM value will also depend on the material the drone is made with. If it is a metallic drone, if it is a carbon fiber, and the power that is being sent by the radar to be reflected onto the radar. So based on this DPSM value, the RCS readings are taken. Thereafter, the RF sensors, radio frequency sensors, are also happening at the same time. The RF sensors will pick up its communication, the communication of the drone at what it's operating. So if there's a bird there, there'll be no RF sensor that will be picking up anything. The RF sensor will probably pick up the frequency that the drone is operating at, and in India, it's I think about 2.4 to and 5.8 gigahertz. These two detect the drone at a distance when it's not visible to the naked eye. When it comes a bit closer, there is the EO/IR, EO for day and IR at night. The EOs have their HD cameras, they have detection that is beyond our local eyes that can assess it. Thereafter, as on today's technology, what we see is it locks on automatically and thereafter follows the drone. Now, based on these three inputs that we get from these three sensors, and this is projected back into the command post at the control center. Now, it is the job of the control center as such to alert the system, where it alerts on what is to be done about this. If it's a bird, it'll compute what is the threat value of this object that is coming to us. Now, based on that threat, it'll decide to engage or let it be. If it decides to engage, now that also depends on the size of drone that's coming to us. If it is a small drone, if it's a drone that can be actually shot down just by electronic warfare, so those methods they'll come into action, and the first effort will be to jam its communication and to jam its GPS. The other two jammers, dual jamming will take place. But sadly, as on date today, we in IdeaForge also, we are making drones that have dual EW resilient facilities, so it'll pass that system from them. Thereafter, there'll be the hard kill that will come, the kinetic kill that will come for the drone. The kinetic kill also, we are very well prepared. As on today, we are prepared for it, because we've got Akash Tir, that can actually deal with it. So this is the process. Once the drone has been shot down, a PSDA will be carried out of the drone. That is the post-strike damage assessment. And whatever theory we need to get out of the drone, we will get out all the intelligence from the drone, and thereafter the process ends there. And how we are placed in today's market? Well, I am elated that today, where drone technology stands, I am happy and I'm actually elated to be a part of this industry. I primarily say so because we are not individually working as an industry on our own. The factors that today make me proud of this industry is, I would classify them generally into four. First is the government. Second is the regulatory authorities that we have. Third is us stakeholders, and fourth is the customer. I'll come to the government first. Firstly, this month itself, the government has announced a 52,000 crores. This has been announced by the DAC, that for operational readiness of the country. I mean, this is a huge step for, I think, every industry that is into the security business. having that much of backing from the government, we as players in the industry, we are very, very excited about this. Secondly, the government itself is in the PLI policy for MSMEs giving 120 crores. It's boosting its morale up. Thirdly, the GST reduction from 18 to 5%. I mean, that's a huge boost for us industries. The fourth thing, the fourth point, which is the most important point as far as I'm concerned, you know, all our drone players were working as per the DGCA classification. We were working among the class of drones that were nano, mini, micro, and small. And the heavy drones that were with our country was always with either US MQ-9Bs or Israeli drones. And so there was no actual players that were working there. The government, and these drones were primarily made by probably DRDOs and the BELs. What the government has done now, it has empowered the DRDO to carry out a consortium with these players like Tata, JSW, Godrej, and Adani itself is with Albit. So they've taken over this space where our country was lacking, where the market gap was. So the government has allowed these players to enter into that domain which was totally not Atmanirbhar.
Sir, we will close in 60 seconds if you could
60
please.
seconds, just 60
Yes,
seconds.
thank you, sir.
Okay, so government is really helping us to further this industry. Second is the DGCA. Pre-2018, there were no drone rules, there were no laws on how to fly a drone. 2018 onwards, certain regulations came in. 2021, drone rules came in. DG Sky has come in. It has made things very easy for us as operators to manufacture and to apply for any licenses. Thirdly is us. And the fourth I would like to bring out is the customer itself. Initially, change is something which everybody does not accept. If you give technology to people, they are not wanting to receive, they will not receive the technology. Today, the customers like the Indian Army, the CRPF, the BSF, ITBP, the CAPFs basically, they are opening their own schools in which they're training the drone schools. They're training the pilots, they're having RPTOs. So I think by 2030, we should be $1 billion company for sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Clarence. I'll take the situation ahead, and you have covered it in very, very detail, and thank you for that. I would like to pitch in Colonel Arvind that the situation has come that Command and Control Center has confirmed that it is an enemy drone, and you are commanding the counter US systems which are deployed along borders. How are you going to deal that situation? I would also like to ask that are we ready to take on these kind of situations? What is our preparedness level and where are we moving ahead?
Thank you, Major Bharat. A very detailed, whatever was told by Colonel Beecham, it's very important. As a person involved with radars for about 36 years and counter-UAS systems for last about 2.5, 3 years, I would quickly like to give an overview of the entire counter-UAS ecosystem. First and the foremost thing is to detect a drone. When we talk about smart borders, we are not just talking about barriers or ground sensors. We are talking about the challenge faced in the third dimension, the airspace which can get violated. It is not so easy to breach a fence physically or crawl or intrude by humans, not so easy. But then this is a very critical problem of our borders, especially in some states. the trans-border drone movement for contraband smuggling. This is one of the biggest challenges. So this is a day-to-day, not just day-to-day, it's every day 8 to 10 occurrences. If you take a larger stretch, it may be almost 20 to 30 occurrences on daily basis. So a smart border, while it's a very, very comprehensive and detailed mechanism to monitor our borders, CUAS becomes very critical. CUAS becomes very critical, though it has technologically it's a little different from rest of the systems. So quickly about the counter-UAS system, detection system, there are 4 possible detectors. First is the radar, second is the passive RF detector, and third is the EOIR, electro-optical infrared, and fourth is the acoustic. So then are the mitigations. Mitigation options I will come later, but what I would like to say here is the radars are generally gauged by their ability to detect the low RCS. Low RCS, it has got a physics limit. There is a certain limit to it. One is that one user has to understand. Second thing is, first detection is always on the passive RF detector. Because for a low RCS radar to detect a target, if the smaller target is there, it has to come within its detectable range. Whereas RF will work even at longer ranges, because he is in communication with his ground station. So the first detection is always a RF detector, usually. And much later, or at its, when the RCS matures to the level of detection, then it will be detected on the radar. Now the issue is, out of these 4 sensors, the most critical part is, detection is not the problem. We all detect, we have got excellent sensors, everybody has got. But the ability to quickly, without latency, fuse the target, apply AI algorithms, and discern, eliminate the false targets from, because birds, these days they are asking for RCSs as small as this cap. Little bigger than a 10 rupee coin. So that is the kind of RCSs they are asking, and slowly, ever since I have joined this CUS thing, I am seeing it has gone, the smallest RCS which was asked 2 years back was, if it is X, now they are asking X by 10. So 1/10 of that size they are asking. That is what is the thing. So it has got a limit. It has got limit of physics basically. It's not that innovation issue. So now the most important thing is how quickly we can apply AI and discern, eliminate the false targets, because all the birds, sparrows, even very small birds will be picked up. And how do we eliminate that? So that is what is the fusion layer. Multi-sensor data fusion layer is very, very critical, and it has to be done in milliseconds. And I'm just talking about one node. Across a long stretch of border, you may have 5, 6, 8, 10. In a battalion sector, you may have 3 to 4. Or if you go to a sector, higher brigade level kind of jurisdiction, you may have 10 to 12 such sensors. All of them at the decision-making center where they have to monitor. Everything has to be fused, and fused composite air situation, drone airspace picture has to be provided. So that is very important. So these are some of the critical issues, and it always works best for a user to get systems all made in the same setup. One vendor, for example. If you get one sensor from one vendor, a second sensor from second vendor, like this, if you have 4 vendors, integrator is a 5th vendor who has to come and integrate. It's not an easy task. I've been working on it for the last 2.5 years, so I'm just telling from experience, plus so many years of IACCS, for example, in the Air Force, and the Akash there in the Army Air Defense. They have come about after decades of trial, error, and a lot of innovation. So therefore, sensor fusion is one of the most critical parts of this border management. I'm just talking about CUS, whereas I'm sure the rest of the sensors will be many more sensors will be there, almost maybe 7, 8 other kinds of sensors. So that is one part. Now, having done that, your AI in the data fusion should be able to tell you threat evaluation and weapon assignment should be done automatically. Humanly, it's not possible. If you have got 20, 30, if there is a flock of birds, suddenly you will have 100 targets on your district. In that, only 3 or 4 may be real drones. How quickly we can eliminate the false targets and find out which is the one, then based on the behavior which is most threatening has to be attacked first. So these are the issues. One is that, and coming to the mitigation part, I'll just take, another 30 seconds. In the mitigation part, there are soft kills and the hard kills, and it's a little I don't mean to be negative, but then very soon the soft kill options are going to become obsolete. Maybe in a matter of maybe few more years, 4 to 5 years. It has already started. There are a lot of autonomous drones coming. Drones which are dark drones, which you can't detect, they don't radiate, they don't receive. They have everything embedded on board. They don't rely on any external source of communication or GNSS also. The good part is dark drones are definitely going to have higher RCS. So you just try and understand, if somebody is to depend on ground communication, pilot communication, and also GNSS, he doesn't have to have so much of hardware on himself. He is getting continuous Q from somewhere. So therefore their RCS is very small, radar cross section. Whereas if they become autonomous, slowly and slowly when the transition happens towards autonomy, the drones will become bigger in terms of RCS, because then they have to probably have inertial navigation system, or they will have vision-based navigation. So all that will increase the hardware or the metal reflective content on the drone, so that RCS goes in the favor of radars, though it becomes invisible to our RF detectors. But then RF detector as a solution cannot be eliminated right now. That phase might come maybe 5 to 10 years hence. So in soft kill, one is the GNS jamming and the RF jamming, which you're basically trying to disrupt his communication. And then the spoofing. You can mislead him in deception about his own position, so that he will be, based on his wrong position, he will go towards his intended target. That is one, or go back home. And the last thing is the hard kills. There are so many hard kills. Out of all the hard kills, the most preferred one currently is the interceptor drones. And only thing is we have to reach that level of speeds and lethality and precision of attack. That is what is very critical. Though a lot of companies are there in the interceptor drone business now, a lot of advertisements. But then it has to be seen to be proved, so it has not yet been seen, demonstrated. So that is one thing. And of course guns are there, and laser, and final ultimate solution is the high power microwave, which for which there is no escape for any drone. So this is the whole chain of this thing, and whoever buys anything should try and buy from somebody who has all the solutions or maximum solutions. Everybody will not have 100% solutions, that everyone understands. But then that is the way to go about for your continuous later on support, as well as upgradation, scalability, everything is very useful. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Arvind. I also realized many times that in last maybe 5-6 years, the way drone warfare has evolved and the way it is going ahead, I think it is very, very interesting but lethal. One thing while studying about these things, I realized that I would again like to involve the audience, and you may please imagine, because that is the best way to realize that you were again the commanders and 100 drones were fired by enemy. There were multiple layers of drone detection and then counter US systems, but only 2 escaped those. Now you were taking care of a strategic single point of failure radar, which was very, very important for our operational success. And now these 2 drones which could escape all these layers are moving towards this radar. How do you safeguard this? Because whatever we have deployed on ground, it is already done. It has performed its efficiency to 98%. But a situation has arisen where a strategic asset of operational importance, having billion of dollars value, and now it is threatened by 2, maybe thousands, or maybe not more than some $100,000 radar. How do you mitigate those? Those are the challenges. We recently did some projects, and these systems are already available. These are called counter-US, passive counter-US fences, high tensile fences, which can sustain or can take the impact of these kind of drones. So these things we must also consider. I would request and involve the chief guest once, and I am ready to take one question only about US and counter US systems. We can directly address it to the JSPM. It should qualify that it should be relevant to the industry, not a specific problem statement. So is there anybody from audience that we want to ask a policy question from JSPM, which is beneficial for the industry and not specific organization? Is there anybody from us, our side? Sir, I would humbly request. If not from audience, then panelists may ask one specific question, again, policy matter, or which can benefit the industry. We have to go there. Sir is there. Middle rows.
So this is Colonel Abhishek from HFC Limited. Just having heard the speakers who just gave us a brief about counter UAS systems, the multiple layers, just wanted to ask the JS if are we thinking on providing a common kind of solution, because counter UAS is just one of the aspects. Again, smart fencing is another aspect, and there are other sensors also which would be involved, like a ground surveillance radar, like a tethered drone would be doing the surveillance. So are we looking at a common solution to provide for our border protection across Punjab, Rajasthan, Bangladesh side, or are we looking at discrete solutions? Formations or local BSF units to actually procure the things. Are we looking at some common solution, sir, or are we looking at discrete solutions?
An integrated solution.
Integrated, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
We are looking for both the options. So, on the border areas, we are looking for integrated solutions, and in other areas, both for border and interland, we will be having standalone anti-drone systems also.
Thank you, sir. Moving ahead, as we realize that drone part is over, and it was the short range radar, UAV detection radars and human detection radars. They also picked up the signals. I would like to turn and go to Sri Mangal Ayodhyaji, and I would like to ask that this is the moment where radars have and other integration grid has to communicate, because if they are not communicating, then we are not going anywhere. So I'll say that in your experience, is the overall detection grid which will fuse these, is it ready for India, or are we moving towards this? And when I talk about integration, is this integration very easy, or are there challenges that we are facing in deploying these short range detection systems and radars?
Okay. Honestly, I believe that such integration is not there. We are moving towards it. I mean, few years back, integration was always an afterthought. Now, at least we are talking about this in this forum and in many other discussions. Integration is the forefront. That is very important. Otherwise, we have a swivel chair mechanism where an operator sits, he looks at a radar which picked some object, then he moves to the optothermal cameras, then the pit sensor, and mentally in his mind, he's trying to juggle up and make a sense out of it, which is the job of AI today. It is not his job, because then it is individual driven. Secondly, sir mentioned very clearly about sensor fusion. This is very, very important. When we are doing a procurement, it is very important to keep in mind that whatever we are buying is with open architecture. It should have a proper and secure SDK or API for integration, and we should keep in mind that there should be a ICCC layer which integrates all of these hardwares to the same platform. That is the paramount need. I will also like to quickly explain with an example. I know a very prominent airport where there was an alarm. There is a list kept on the table where the security forces is looking for which PTZ is for that zone. Then by the time he is moving the PTZ to that area, nothing is visible. He mentioned in his register that it's a false alarm. 2 hours later, we knew that it was a wild animal inside the airport. Tomorrow it could be a terrorist. And we will just put in a remark that it's a false alarm. This has to be avoided because we are talking about mission critical systems. So every second counts. So when we are talking about a true integration, then if a radar has picked a device, the camera should be moved towards that automatically, the slew should happen, the camera should pan and then track that device and help us identify whether it's a false alert or it's a real thing. And there should be alert, and if there are forces, they should be nominated, they should get the alert at the same time with the operator. That is the integration that we should look forward to. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Very crisp, concise, and to the point. I'll take you to the next situation where the fence cutting was also detected, and intrusion detection systems which are deployed along fence, they also confirmed it, and they also detected it, and cameras which were deployed along and queued to the intrusion detection system, they are also confirmed. But this is an ideal situation. Is it happening on ground or not? That we have to prepare ourselves and deploy these kind of situations. I would like to go to Sri Vinay Vasis from Ramcon Security. And I want to ask that when we talk of these kind of integration where intrusion detection systems, cameras and fence are deployed, how effective it is? Are we moving towards a fence which, if we talk of today, then you will see that the fence which is deployed in Delhi and Jammu Kashmir might be same, and this is the truth. Are we moving towards some physical systems which can actually delay these kind of intrusion attempts, because that will buy us time. If we get a time, then our reactions will be better. So I want to ask that how can we effectively integrate these systems, and where are we moving towards when it comes to having deploying a fence which can actually defend itself?
Yeah, I would like to comment on these things. First is, we need to have intelligence built in our systems, intelligence in terms of, people talk of command control center, where, it is all the camera view, the radar view, everything comes in. But that is operational, right? The command control center should have a dashboard where the decision makers could get details like, area-wise, when the alarm is coming, which, month or the time of the year the alarm comes from which area, or which time of the day alarm is coming. This, helps a lot for decision makers to deploy the QRT. So I believe that, most of the alarm could be predicted, and we could have people already ready to respond to that area, right? This is one. Second is, I see that light plays a very, very important role in perimeter intrusion detection. And normally, in India, street lights are put on this perimeter area, but security light is a domain where the light is controlled by IP, and it is connected, well connected to your security operational area of the control room, where they know the health status of every light. And maybe you don't want all the light to be, glowing 100% all the time. Whenever there's an attempt of alarm, only that zone area light should go in 100%, right? We have been talking to people, and they say in dark, when we receive alarm, we're coming to that area, it is not very easy to point out, right, where the alarm is coming. So, the light should be there. The light will help the cameras to, give a better view into security control room. Number two, the analytics can play better there. Number three, the drone, any drone, right, could fly off to that area and hover around and give a clear view of that area. With that light glowing in that zone, it will be much better, right? This is second. Third thing, very, very important, right, that, with and in very, very critical situation where we deploy technology, the government should look at having NDAs And if there is substantial requirement, for the OEM, that those models or those kind of technology is only given to them for that particular area, so that the breach of that technology is not there. The complete supply chain is also in the control of government, and that particular OEM, they can control it through, right? So that talks a lot about having indigenous technology, right? There you can have control, right? Because normally what happens is the product coming from here, the person who's breaching, they're also very intelligent nowadays. They would go there, learn the technology, and they know how to beat it, right? So this is one very important thing in this thing. So the complete control on supply chain is a must, so that the intruder it's very difficult for him to get knowledge on the technology which is deployed and how it works and how they can beat it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And to be very frank, there are certain considerations which have to keep in mind, irrespective of where it is deployed. Because when I see that, and this is fact, we all realize that there are already some standards in market which define that which kind of fencing system, physical infrastructure has to be deployed in which climatic conditions. Those may be incorporated, because if a fence which is designed for areas of Delhi, and if same is put into Ran of Kutch or coastal lines, that will not sustain. And when I talk about this sustenance, I am not able to evaluate the commercials and administrative hassle that it creates for the organization which are responsible to maintain those. Those are the few things. Second thing, when we talk about fencing systems, physical barriers, in world there are already some systems and there are some standards. If I have to name, then I'll say that ASTM and LPS standards which govern the delay ratings, where the fencing itself can withstand some kind of intrusion attempt for certain period of time, and that certain period of time is well defined in those standards. So whenever we are designing some sort of solutions for our borders, because fence will form a big part. From here, I would also like
to take 30 seconds on this, standards,
sure.
Right? This is very important, right? Because, I normally see in India, people are talking, different suppliers are talking of standards of different countries, right? My view, India should have, standards of their own, right? They don't have to invent the wheel, right? They already exist, right? So it should be there, and it should be governed by government that, okay, fine, at this place, we need these three standards. Surprisingly, IS standards for quite a few security systems fall under electrical, system, or maybe data processing equipment, right? And this is a very major point which should be taken care directly by government.
Thank you. And sir, as you have been very, very kind to us and listening to us very actively, if again, I was talking of the quantum, it is more than around $4 billion of fence, which is the project size in economics for Indo-Myanmar fence, which is coming up. When we talk about Indo-Bangladesh border fence, when we talk about western borders, we are going to deploy both physical and electronic security solutions. So this market is huge. What sir is saying, I advocate that if we have, either we follow some kind of standardizations, or we develop our own standards with help of academia and industry, and taking inputs from the subject matter experts. This will be a great help, because if I roughly estimate, and you may also imagine that I am talking now, I have covered only the physical infrastructure which is coming up. When we talk about drones, intrusion detection systems, maybe it might be a $50 billion market in next 10 years. This might be the amount of investment that we might be doing. So those things we have to consider. Moving ahead, I would like to move to Mr. Ranjan Bhatia, and we all talk of artificial intelligence, and whatever our panelists has discussed, everybody has brought in this question that the display will come in command and control center, and that will help us in decision making. We have also seen that if there are 100 cameras and the feed is coming to one control station, scrolling or moving to screen is very difficult. And this is where artificial intelligence can help us. I want to know very frankly from your side that have we already developed and deployed these kind of solutions, or are we moving towards that direction, so that this investment, these resources which are expended and deployed for the national security resilience can actually add some value. Over to you.
Thank you, Bharat. I think it is both ways. We are still in the development stage of sovereign AI, the LLMs that we are indigenously developing. And we need the GPUs and the hardwares from the foreign countries which are supplying, because as of now, we have not been able to develop the hardware as a sovereign nation. So I think the open source availability of AI should be adopted by India as a country, and simultaneously we should develop the sovereign apps and the sovereign LLM models, so that the data that is developed, that is there in our country, remains in our country and used by our country. I'll give you, I'll share this with small examples. There's a project called Project Sanjay, which was launched by Sri Rajnath Singh in the last year of January 2025, which is a battlefield surveillance system and was developed by Bharat Electrical Limited. Here they are, what they are doing is they have integrated all the feeds of ground sensors, thermal imaging sensors, aerial sensors, and UAV feed into a unified command and surveillance picture. So a commander, a brigade commander or a corps commander or a div commander just has to look at one feed. He doesn't have to move to different systems to look at the reports of all the sensors. I think this was not available when I was serving on the borders 6 years back at China border or Bhutan border or Myanmar border. We had to look at the LOROS feed in a different platform. We had to look at the thermal imaging feed in a different platform. And there was an Air Force jet which had a different platform. So the kind of integration that the government is looking at and is working on, they have successfully launched this project, and I think it is being deployed indigenously, and they have been successful. Second, I would also like to mention the Ministry of Defense's IT and Cybersecurity Cell. They are also using artificial intelligence to fight AI. They have integrated all the alerts that are generated, millions and millions of alerts that are generated. They have clustered and triaged them into a singular platform, so that there should be, the human at the end should not be alert fatigued. If there are 10,000 alerts and AI can mitigate 9,900 alerts, then why not? So AI has to be used in an assistive nature to the humans. Of course, human intelligence is way above AI. That's what I believe. And we should use AI to our own assistance so that our work is easier. Now, this correlation in India has been integrated in some fields, and some fields are left behind. Like Army, Navy, and Air Force are working in a different ecosystem altogether. An alert, a cybersecurity threat generated in an Army division and an electronic warfare threat generated in an Air Force division is not correlated, because they have no communications together. But in the larger game, if we see in the larger picture, if this is integrated into a single command center, then proper steps can be taken to mitigate the threats. So we need to work on that. And secondly, if a ground sensor, say, is deployed in Himalayas, it doesn't have that kind of bandwidth to transfer that data for analytical intelligence to a command center, because that kind of bandwidth is not available at that altitude. So what I am speaking about is that we are right now also facing the infrastructural issues as well, the communication issues as well. A normal phone call is also not available at 18,000 feet. So the processing of AI data is a very long game that we are thinking of. So I think the turning point in our nation is that we have indigenously, the DRDO has now been developing the indigenous LLMs, and we'll be looking at the sovereign LLMs and sovereign data, and will not be using the foreign AI GPUs. But till the time we do not develop our own GPUs, we have to depend on the hardware and the open source AI which is being available in the field. And secondly, that the government recently announced that there is a force called Data Force, which will be the amalgamation of Army, Navy and Air Force. That Data Force will be responsible for handling all the military data and the AI analytics which pertains to Ministry of Defense. So this is a very good step that government has taken to mitigate and to integrate all the forces and to mitigate the threats that come in today's world. That's my take. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rajan. We have discussed a lot of technology now. If you were imagining and if you are able to correlate, initially drone detection was done, then we deployed our counter UAS systems, radars gave some input, then intrusion detection systems, cameras were feeding, and there is one person who is controlling this scenario. I would like to come to you, Colonel Ranjit. You have served in uniform and now a subject matter expert. So what is more important? Is it the technology which is giving you feed? Is it the commander on ground who has to evaluate, or is it the people related to that operation? First is that, what is most important, and how do we strengthen that? Second thing is that you as a commander is absorbing these kind of feeds and have to take decision. How do we train our troops on ground so that an individual cannot be looking at or taking decisions? So how do we decentralize our command structure at that level in terms of training our troops, and how do we bridge this gap? As I see that these kind of systems coming and then these kind of digitization happening, smartization happening maybe at a tactical level, because deployment has to happen at a tactical level. How do we bridge this gap of tactical and operational level, and then giving a correct messaging to the strategic commanders, be it government or our defense forces? How will you plan to bridge this?
Thank you, Major Bharat. And I think a great question coming from what we have been talking about, a lot of technology. And I really wish I had all these technologies available when I was on the borders, be it the northeastern one or the northern one. I have also worked in my consulting career on other broader projects, also in some other countries, not just India. And one thing that really everything boils down to whatever technology that you're deploying. At the end of the day, it is only effective as what output you can get out of it, right? Otherwise, it does not make sense. Another point that probably I would just like to add, we have been talking about smart borders, and we are talking about all the fences and all the systems that are there. Borders also include certain legitimate border crossings, right? Where you have people and material crossing. The security controls need also to cater for that, right? Because it's not just that we want to stop. There are certain places where you want people and material to be crossing legitimately, and that's also where your access control, your vehicle barriers, as was being presented by Manish in the first presentation of his. So probably that also needs to come into play. Yeah, so the situation now, drones were coming, it was detected, Colonel Clarence mentioned, Colonel Arvind also mentioned how the counter-UAS system works, right? Nilab's radars caught whatever was going on. When I mentioned how the fences would be working, Major Ranjan also mentioned how the AI fusion actually takes place, what is working, what is not, right? But at the end of the day, if you see, within 3 to 4 minutes, your systems which are integrated properly in the command center would have given you a picture, right? What is happening, what is the situation, there is some analysis that would have been given out. Probably that OODA loop, we know OODA, right? The observe, orient, decide, act loop that is there. Earlier it would have taken anything from 25, 30 minutes. This technology has brought it down to say 4, 5 minutes, right? And as per the timeline that we are looking at, you already have a picture in front of you. You can take a decision, but it is still a picture. Remember that, right? There is somebody who has to take a decision in the crux of that time. Trust the information that is there, right? Now the decision can be right or wrong. So what is that decision? Should an action be taken which can escalate, right? Or no action is taken and a breach takes place, right? So anything can happen. I mean, you're not sure. Therefore, the person who is sitting there, like what Bharat was asking, the person who is sitting there, the commander, the command center operator, who is looking at that picture, should be capable enough to make that judgment, right? Trust the information that is coming in, work under strain, and be able to take this decision. And that is the time when right information, right integration that is there comes into play. Otherwise, this entire integration, the solution that we are talking about, entire thing fails, right? And therefore, we need to make our command center operators, the commanders who are there on ground, capable enough to be able to take these decisions. Now, how can this happen? Probably, there are 3 things. If I look at it, probably what is happening is, we are all talking about sensors. In India, we are investing a lot in sensors. A lot of sensors are coming in. Is our doctrine or the SOP, as we talk about, keeping up with the kind of sensors that we are deploying? How many of you, okay, when I say you, I'm not pointing, but how many of us have actually revised our SOPs or doctrine whenever we have added technology or solutions? I have done consulting for 18 years. I have seen organizations where the technology is deployed, a lot of things are there, but your SOPs are not aligned with that technology, right? So probably that is something that we need to look at. When I was talking about, and Bharat also mentioned, we get thousands, and Ranjan also mentioned, thousands of alerts are coming in. There can be an alert fatigue, right? That is a problem, a genuine problem. So what I think is that, one, we need to upgrade our doctrines. We need to upgrade our SOPs. We need to rehearse that. We need to have a set of situations defined. The commander who is there should not have to start from scratch, start thinking that, okay, now what should I do? What is happening? I'm trying to correlate. No, that doesn't or shouldn't work, right? So we need to have our doctrines, SOPs in place. Second, our training sometimes is still very theoretical, right? Today, what Bharat has done with us, painting situations, probably our training needs to go from classroom to simulations, right? have situations painted. The biggest issue at that point of time is not the information. It is the time limit, the time boxing as we call it. You have very less time to take a decision. You have deployed everything, the drone is going to cross over. The drone is flying at probably 100 kilometers per hour, even if it's a small drone, right? 60, 70 kilometers is there. You detect it at 5 kilometers, you have 5 minutes to respond. That entire rule of engagement, you have to bring it down, so your time becomes lesser, right? So that is something that is very, very critical. Third, when we are talking about alert fatigue, right? How does a person start trusting that AI? When that person has been getting 10,000 alarms or alerts, how does that person start trusting that machine? So we need to have a deliberate collaboration, right? Where an understanding of what is coming out should be there with the person, and the person starts trusting it, right? The panelists gave out an example that we should have additional information that is coming out with alert. You can have a very good screen, very good system, it pops out, like there is a camera, something has come in. If it does not immediately corroborate, you don't know what is happening, right? Probably an animal got into the airport, kept moving around, so anything else could have happened. So how does that person start trusting the person who has to make the decision, right? So that is something that is critical and we need to start thinking about. Maybe, have systems where entire solutions come up, the entire chain of event comes up immediately so that person is able to take a decision. Again, contrary to that is another factor, that person should not just sort of tick mark everything that the AI is throwing at it. Drone, enemy, okay. Intrusion, okay. So it should not be that human judgment also needs to come into play, right? So that is something that needs to be kept in mind. 3 things. Maybe another 4, what we were talking about, the 4th one, we need to have a sort of framework or a playbook that's at country level, right? We were talking about that, different locations, different requirements. I mean, many a times you don't know when you're going to pitch, and I'm coming from probably the vendor side, as to what certification should I mention? Should I mention an Indian certification or an external certification? What will the client like? So if we have something that is for Indian context, right, it will be very, very helpful. And that's what we need to do. That will help not just the equipment, but it will also help the people, the operators who are there. They grow because they have a proper understanding of the system. So the entire industry grows together. It's not just that, right? Because at the end of the day, they are the ones who are making the decision. So that is something that we need to keep in mind. And whatever technology you may have, if there are decision makers are not there who can take a decision based on the information, right information, under stress situations, in a time-boxed manner, nothing will work, right? So that's something that we need to keep in mind, right? And of course, disseminating to the lowermost level. See, the passage of information, when in the army we are told that don't evaluate. Whatever you are just seeing, pass on. Somebody will evaluate and pass it back. Now, the command center is getting a lot of information, right? So that information, the moment it makes sense, needs to be moved ahead to the right commanders so that they can take action and they can do things. So yeah, at the end of the day, everything comes in, but the accountability, the consequences rests with the people who are making that decision, right? And that's what we need to empower, enable, keeping that in mind. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Ranjit. And if I have to sum up this whole, beautifully the way you have covered, so I'll put only 2 words which comes to my mind. First is the collaboration, and second is the integration. Collaboration from very beginning, whatever are the problem statement that we are facing and we are trying to solve, we should start collaborating from the word go, be it planning stage or maybe at implementation stage or later on. Second is the integration. This is the big challenge which we foresee, that lot of data which is coming in, and then how do we integrate it and take a correct decision. So these are the 2 key takeaways that we should keep in mind. I have already got a time check, and we must abide by. I don't want to sound unfair to two of the esteemed panelists which are already there. We will definitely have to ask them questions because they are covering something very, very critical. But I would humbly request that we will have a check on time. And so I want to go to Meenakshi. I'll come to you. Whatever we have realized, we have talked of lot of electronics signal coming on, fiber optics laid, and then coming and integrating at the command and control center. I want to ask you, Meenakshi, that is there any better way? You imagine how much of fiber optic, how much of electronic signal is coming in. I want to ask you as a subject matter expert that is there any way I can reduce this hardware at least? Can I infuse this in a single maybe architect? And second thing is that we are not realizing that the command and control center which is established to secure us, that itself needs security. Security in terms of maintenance and serviceability. So you being the commander there and in charge of upgrading that command and control center and maintaining the serviceability, how would you like to go ahead? I would again request very humbly, time is little bit short onto our side.
Thank you so much, Major Bharat, for your questions and for making me a commander for today's session. I have really wished to join Indian Army since long, but life had other plans for me, and thankfully, I've joined a company where we are providing completely indigenously designed and manufactured solutions for safety and security of the personnel as well as the equipments for our defense forces. So for your question, I'll break it into two parts and then I would like to answer. First would be how to do the sensor integration or fusion. So when we are talking about thousands of kilometers of international borders or the perimeter of critical infrastructures, it is important to have not only the point-based sensors, but also continuous sensors which could run across the length of those perimeters or the international borders. For railways, we are already doing more than 1,500 kilometers of continuous sensing for the intrusion of any kind of wild animals or digging activities, maybe tunneling for the perimeter. So this we are already doing using distributed acoustic sensing optical fiber-based devices, which we are deploying for the railways. Similar solutions are also useful in the defense environment or be it the critical infrastructure environment where any kind of activity, external activity detection is very important. So imagine the situation where we have a continuous and point-based sensor integrated together. The continuous sensor, this distributed acoustic sensing based sensor is able to detect any activity, any footsteps, any vehicle approaching or any wild animal approaching near to the border through the land. And the slew to crew action is performed by the PTZ cameras. This detection can activate the cameras and in turn this can activate the drones on field. So drones can also have a limited capability of sortie limited areas to do the loitering around. But if you have a pinpointed area where the detection has happened, it is probably easier to do the recognition and identification and maybe later hard kill or soft kill as per the requirement, whatever my fellow panelists have discussed till now in the session and what Colonel Kuber has also indicated in his session. That sensor integration is the most important part. And at JMV, we are already doing this for other critical infrastructures like railways or airports, where we are putting up continuous sensing and we are integrating it with the PTZ cameras, and as needed, we can also integrate with the drone systems, and we can give you a comprehensive, common, integrated command and control center where the commander doesn't have to look at multiple screens, rather he will have a definite input and he can make a better informed decision in a very less time period. Now coming to the second question, how do you make sure that the equipments are serviceable for the entire duration and to be active in these kind of cases or scenarios that you have put us in? So it is important for all the electronic equipments to be protected against the environmental impacts. So when we talk about the environmental impacts, there are certain related to the power or to the lightning. So at GMV, we are also providing the complete lightning, grounding, and surge protection solutions for specialized electronic equipments, be it the cameras, be it the power supplies, or the equipments on the field post. It is very important to safeguard these equipments against the impacts of environments and lightning. This can be very brutal. Even before we get any alarm or alerts, our system can fail due to these environmental impacts. So I would suggest, being a commander, it is also very important to take care of the electrical protection of my field gears at the real time, and to keep it in check that they are properly functioning at all times. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Meenakshi. Well covered. And these are the genuine problems when we talk of deploying these kind of huge infrastructure. Then these are the genuine problems. And the first and foremost, and which is very important, is the serviceability. How do you upkeep those systems which you have deployed? I'll not waste much time, and thank you for imagining that you were the operational commander. But every night is not that lethal. You will not be pressed. That was actually a night for which we have been preparing and trained. On other nights, you may see that border is never silent. Some of the activities are always going on. This was a kinetic one. In peacetime and heightened gray zones, or during gray zones, many of the other activities, for example, coordinated intrusions, smuggling of weapons, contrabands, anybody coming in with a nefarious design. So these are the day-to-day challenges, and which cannot be ignored. I want to turn and come to Mr. Kiran, that these are the live challenges. Whatever we have talked of deploying US, counter-US system, intrusion detection systems and radars, how do we mitigate these kind of challenges? And these challenges have been through the years. Initially, these kind of attempts were made by digging tunnels. Now people are using drones and other means. So I want to ask you, based on your experience, that how do we classify these challenges and how we can mitigate these challenges on day-to-day basis?
Sure. Thank you, Major Bharat. So just to do a reality check, I'm new to this industry, because Indrajal we focus on counter drone specifically, and we have been doing it for 5 years. We recently did a joint exercise with the Border Security Force, and we put a system in one location, and in 6 days we caught 42 drones carrying Pakistani drones carrying 12 kgs of heroin and maybe 4 handguns. And this is one location. So technically, if you look at the entire border, there are about close to 2,000 to 3,000 intrusions happening every day, right? And irrespective of the physical technology, how much ever the integration done, the fact is intrusion is happening every day. And the important thing to really look at is, I think Operation Spiderweb is a great example of this, saying that threats are never going to come with a lot of warning, right? Operation Spiderweb proves that the threat can take off from right across your perimeter. It doesn't have to come from 5 kilometers away, 10 kilometers away, and they can come hundreds and they can hit you very hard before you can realize it. So when we looked at counter UAS, we knew from day one that it has to be autonomous. There is no question about it. The first deployment we did for a fully autonomous system for the Indian Navy was during Op Sindoor. And that is when we realized that command centers are going to be not operator driven but supervisor driven, right? So typically when you have an AI enabled system, you will have to have supervision but not really man in the loop, because that is going to slow down the process, and decision making has to be fully autonomous for when your response time is less than 10 to 20 seconds or 30 seconds, right? And that's really the reality of today. So when we compare human intelligence to artificial intelligence, I would say there is no comparison, right? I would not, being educated from Carnegie Mellon, from Purdue University, and some of all the degrees I can have, I cannot compete with ChatGPT on a 5-minute essay writing. It's impossible, right? The kind of intelligence that AI can bring in and autonomy can bring in. So it's really not a fair comparison to compare these two cases. And when we look at, recently we are looking at interceptors where we are like, let us follow the Ukraine model of launching interceptors by hand, and I'm like, training a pilot for interception takes 3 weeks per pilot, right? And no matter how much you train, there is still a the percentage of kill is 50 to 60%. Autonomous systems are at 90%, right? So it is not really a fair comparison, in my opinion, in these systems, especially in counter UAS. I don't know about, so perimeter security is not my area, but when I look at counter UAS and aerial security, non-autonomous systems are something that I don't see the practicality of it, right? Where am I going to charge the weapon? Where am I going to run and where am I going to shoot this? It's not really practical or real, right? Yes, there are a lot of systems sold in the matter, but that does not make it practical. The second thing we always focus on is the truth of it is economics, right? Economics. Today, unmanned systems have made it possible that even the most powerful countries are not powerful anymore, because a small country can take it to task being supported by a big country in the back, because I don't have to put a human being in the machine. If I have to lose human lives every time I attack, then that's a different story. But if I don't have to lose human lives, I can keep on bombing a nation for 10 years, right? Keep on. My drones are coming off supply chains. It's not really I'm putting a human being into it, right? I can keep on, like Ukraine and Russia is happening, and US and Iran is a great example of this, right? So I would say that unmanned systems have changed the game, where economics becomes the primary understanding of how to design systems. So economics have to be designed into multi-layer systems so that I'm taking down something that is coming at $100,000 with $50,000, right? I'm not taking down something that's coming at $100,000 with $1 million, right? So that's really where multi-layer systems, and where we're saying that electronic warfare first, before that cyber takeover and so on and so forth. I would say economics is a huge play. We have to rethink economics of security in border and perimeter security. The third last thing I would add is that there's no one size fits all in this whole equation, right? I would give a recent example. For example, again, I would take a border security as a great example, because border security wants to catch the drone. Army wants to send the drone back, because army is expecting a bomb. Border security is expecting a gun or a drug attached to it. So the border security's problem is to catch the drone. So when we went to border security, we said, what do you want to do? They're like, we want to catch the drone. We don't want to send it back, right? Because when we go to the army, they're like, no, we want to send the drone back. We don't even want it to come into our perimeter, right? So these are two completely different use cases, right? And the technology underlying to achieve that is substantially different, right? So to catch a drone, it is way, way, way harder than to actually send it back to where it's coming from. So technology only plays a role based on the end result and the use case that we are trying to bring in. And that's what we have learned, saying that talk to the force, work with them, and actually find the problem and apply technology and artificial intelligence to solve the force's problem in a on-ground scenario, right? So that's where we have been mostly successful.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. And here we conclude, but I think it's 3 to 4 minutes maximum at max, and then we will conclude, because the participation from chair has to be there. And sir, I would like to humbly invite you and give your closing remarks. As also, if you would like to throw some challenges to the industry, that from government side, what would you like them to give preference to, and what are the challenges that you are facing? Though industry might be aware, but then what additional challenges you want to throw at them?
So, with respect to anti-drone system, we have a system in place where the vendors, they have to test their systems with our ARTDC committee. There is a committee called as ARTDC committee with the BSF. So you'll have to check your systems validated by that committee, and only if that committee approves it, then the government, whether it's the government of India or the state governments, they'll be able to procure those systems. So whichever vendors are interested in anti-drone systems, so you'll have to register with them first, and we are planning to procure some anti-drone system. Not only government of India, many state governments have also been approved some anti-drone systems, so they are in the pipeline. With respect to the doctrine that I think Mr. Vinay was talking about, I think all the forces have their own SOPs. I don't know, you're talking some other perimeter security norms or something you are talking about. So I just want to understand later what standard is. So I think all the forces have their own SOPs or standards for perimeter security. So I am not aware, so I can discuss with you. And also with respect to CCTVs also, we have almost sanctioned almost around 600 to 800 crores worth of CCTVs for various states in the last 1 year. So you may also look into it, and there we'll be insisting on all those components to be not to be sourced from the countries which are bordering the nation. So though we were not focusing more on that aspect, but now all the new purchases will be scrutinizing it in a much bigger way. And all the vendors who are supplying those items, and also the sources from where they are procuring will be scrutinized, and because CCTV is going to be very crucial, and only all those things manufactured indigenously and non-bordering nations' supply chain systems will be allowed. So please take care of it when you're manufacturing and trying to give it to the government. Is there anything else specific you want me to talk about? Or?
Yes, sir, thank you. I think you have very well put your points, and industry is here, sir. They'll be interacting you with informally with you also. And thank you so much, Major Bharat, for actually moderating this session so well, and all the esteemed panelists. Thank you so much. And this is a subject which actually generally doesn't the other chamber take up. We wanted, and discussion with Major Bharat, Urban Defense Security, we wanted to do this session, and we would like to do maybe a successive session next year also. What kind of developments had happened? For example, we had done a session on the indigenization requirements of the CAPF, and where Sir was there, and we had flagged some issues which were taken care of by JSPM, and that is what he was discussing in the morning. Thank you, sir. Sir, before we conclude the session, I would request you to kindly come on the dais and present mementos to the speakers, esteemed panelists, sir. If you can kindly come on the dais, please, sir. Please. One query. Sir, please come.
Thanks for the opportunity. I am Dinesh. I am from Panipat in Haryana. So my point to raise is that we are on the defense part, we are very keen to bring the technology and secure the nation. But at the same time, I want to say that civil part is also very much integrated with the national security, and internal security is matter which is deeply integrated with the national security. I would like to say that US Defense Forces, you are very sincere, and your level compared to the civil security, that is the IPS, that is the police system of the states. I want to point out through the very relevance that some IPS officials are really gallantry, but some IPS officials were as in charge of SP or DIG. I mean, they are lethargic. They are not serious towards their responsibilities, their constitutional oaths. So, how the policy or how the governance or MHA, Ministry of Home Affairs, they are trying to tackle to bring the standards of the working of the IPS internal security systems also, their administration, their policy, I mean, in tandem with the national security issues. Policy-wise also, administrative-wise also, and technology-wise also. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. No more questions, please. I think we'll have discussions later on. And this kind of, actually, this is not the department. This is not concerned with the department. So that's a separate question. This could be taken up by the different department of MHA. JSPM is actually on a different, they're working on different department. Okay, that can be discussed later on. Sir, I would request you to kindly, sir, come in the front and present memento to Major Bharat for nicely moderating. आगे चले जाएं वहाँ पे. Thank you, sir. I would request Mr. Neelab Ayodhya Singh, the GM Country Manager, Magal Solutions, to kindly come in the front, please. Ms. Meenakshi Singh, the Director from JMV LPS Limited. Colonel Arvind Mulmani, if you can kindly come in the front, that will be okay. Colonel Clarence Beesham is the General Manager, Sales and Business Development, Idea Force Technology Limited. Thank you, Colonel Beesham. Mr. Kiran Raju, the founder and CEO of Indrajal. Thank you, Kiran, for being a part of the discussion. Shri Vinesh Vashisht, the director from Remcon Security. Thank you, Vinayji. Major Ranjan Bhatia, the manager, Punjab National Bank. Thank you. You brought in some new aspects to the whole discussion. Thank you. Thank you, Major Ranjan. And Mr. Ranjit Sinha, the director of Midcat Advisory. A lot of points, sir. We need more time with you. Thank you so much. I would request for a group photograph, and then we start the next session. Thank you so much. We have another technical session. Just 2 minutes, there's a change of dice which is happening. So this session is securing, that will be a brief session, the securing urban infrastructure and industrial facilities, which talks about public space protection and smart city surveillance, cyber threats, integrated security operation centers, and indigenous surveillance technologies, which will be moderated by Sri Sanjay Kaushik, the Managing Director of Netrika Consulting. Sanjay ji, and then we have Dr. Sushil Kumar, the Head IT Governance and Advisor, Head Smart City Division, Gurugram, Faridabad. Then we have Shri Umar Farooq, the General Manager, Aditya Infotech, Ms. Shreya Agarwal, the Director and Chief Product Officer, Think Future Technologies, Shri Ankit Harjai, the Principal Investment CIO, Mount Tech Growth Fund, and Shri Asav Ravi, the Director, Lasavo Private Limited. So we'll need 2-3 minutes, then we'll invite all the speakers, the panelists, and the moderator on dais.
Shri Omar Farooq,
Ms. Shreya Agarwal. Shri Ankit Harjay. Shri Asab Ravi. Please come on the dais. Thank you. So I now request Shri Sanjay Kaushik ji to take this discussions forward. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I know the glucose levels in the bodies are down and everybody is waiting for the lunch. But can we at least have some energy and say good afternoon? Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, better. Okay. So the previous panel which discussed about the borders, I think the task to us is to look into more into the cities. And that's how you secure the nation. You, on the one side, you secure the outside borders, and on the other side, you are looking at the cities. And we have a very, very great panel where we have people from all parts of the industry, from the government and the industry both. And I hereby formally welcome each one of you, my co-panelists here. And not taking too much, we will try to finish it very, very fast and, allow each one of us to have increase our glucose levels in the body by having lunch faster. So one question to each one of you, not more than 60 seconds, just one small, one-liner probably. What do you believe will be single biggest security challenge for India's urban infrastructure over the next 5 years? So over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, PhD-CCI, for organizing this very good exchange. And it's an honor to be here. So for me, it's the vulnerability of mass interconnectivity of devices. Since major cities of India are transforming into, smart cities. So what we are lacking is, it's not the main concern would not be the the physical breach. It is basically the very blur line between the physical security and the cyber security. I will give you a short example and I will conclude with that. That for example, if we will have a security hack on any of the smart city poles, street poles, we are looking at a potential blinding of a complete neighborhood without a CCTV feed, and during a major event. So that's really we are looking into.
Thank you. Shreya.
Thank you, PhD CCI and Dr. Sanjay Kaushik for the introduction. So everyone, I'm Shreya, and my perspective on this specific panel is that in India, surveillance is not the problem. The problem is the data. We have millions of cameras, but what we do with the data is the issue. It is fragmented right now, it is in silos. And we work with manufacturing, logistics, large infra companies. And the problem is the security team are still reactive in how they operate. And so, 5 years from now, the problem will not be the sensors or the cameras. It will be how can we build intelligence over the data that we have so that incidents are detected much before they actually happen. Thank you.
Sushilji.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Dr. Sushil and I'm heading Smart City Project and IT Governance for the Gurugram Metropolitan Development Authority. And I thank you, the PhD chamber here, that I'm here for the second time for the purpose. And whatever the question has been posed is a very important question, and it is linked with all of us, not only with me or the channel or the with the panel boards. It's the big big problem as far as security is concerned next 4 to 5 years to me is the unlawful uses of the AI. That we have to control somewhere how to make use of the AI, where the areas will have to be selected and how to make use of it. Secondly, we have to have protection to our data and the surveillance for the safety and security of the people. Because until unless we are not able to manage the crowd detection, we are not able to manage our perimeters, we are not able to manage and detect the threats and the movements around our critical infrastructures, our security concerns are not completed. As far as perimetry is concerned, whether it is the national borders, whether it are the peripheries of our infrastructures like airports, like oil depots, like refineries, whatever it is, even don't go away. The perimetry of your own society where you live should be smartly protected. So that is the all concerned. In all direction we will have to have work a lot, and we are working towards the direction to make safe our applications, our databases, and our life also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Myself, Kamal Pandey from Super CCTV. I can say this question, I can give answer in other ways. There is nothing like, now India has initiated to secure the nation. Earlier, CCTV are security things we used as a luxury items. Now India has started thinking it's the necessity. So now definitely the number of cameras, number of security sensors and fans has been started from last some years. In upcoming some years, it can be covered and we can totally secure. Now data centers has been started coming in India, and the infrastructure which level we require now it is put in. So definitely in coming some years, may ye sari problems can be solved. And now India is moving towards the indigenous products and solutions. So in coming days, may ye sari problems could be solved. Definitely we are working in the ways कि वर्ल्ड के हर टेक्नोलॉजी की वी आर ट्राइंग टू मैच, चाहे AI इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की बात करें, डेटा सेंटर्स की बात करें, हाईवेज इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की बात करें, बॉर्डर मैनेजमेंट्स की बात करें. तो नाउ द इंडिया इज गोइंग अहेड एंड आई बिलीव in some years it could be better and better continuously. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamal.
Just adding to the points which my co-panelists have already shared, it's a problem which has threefold kind of a problem plus a solution at the same time. One is the component level understanding of how the ecosystem plays in terms of creating out the hardware or the cameras. Localization and indigenization of the components definitely is a matter of high priority. Make in India definitely is solving for it. Second part is the intelligence and the software layer which goes on top of these cameras. Many a times there have been cases where the intelligence has been compromised and foreign parties or foreign acts of states have actually accessed those camera feeds. So bringing up an intelligence layer which is much more secured, created out by localized players or even the Indian startups is of high importance. And last bit is availability of capital by VCs, private equity, and even government institutions who can help prosper this ecosystem around the perimeter security. These three areas occupy, I think, the immediate matter of interest for this sector overall, and this can be solved very easily in the next 5 to 6 years, depending on how outcomes come at all three levels: hardware, software, and capital adequacy.
Thanks for the opportunity. Very thanks to PhD CCI, and I'm going to reinforce what my colleagues in the panel have said, that really as of right now data is the crux of the problem. Cities, they are operating in silos. There are lots of CCTVs, but they are, of course, their data feeds are in silos. And also AI is the operational layer which has not yet been implemented. The AI, one cannot just sit and watch the CCTVs, and of course implementation of AI throughout the tech stack is going to be the huge thing. And ultimately platforming, which we are doing at the moment, we the lasavo.org we are a platform where we are, compiling data from everywhere. We are an open source intelligence. Right now there are forums, popular forums like Twitter, Reddit, but all of those data are not being compiled anywhere. Those are real-time actionable insights where one can take. So eventually that is where has to be the AI actionable layer has to come, and from the silos that data has to be merged, all unified data and eventually actionable data, where not even humans but I think automata itself will act, and that is where we see the next 5 years themselves action happening. And of course eventually the actions cost will go down, so it'll become more smarter, more unified gradually. Thank you.
No, very true. Thank you for all of you, echoing the same sentiment. And just to give you an example, yesterday I was meeting a very large listed company in Gurgaon, and they said we have 2,000 cameras at our plant. We have lost 14 crores of goods because nobody was watching those cameras. Having 2,000 cameras, spending so much of capex, not somebody watching, not having those AI analytics, what is the use of having those cameras? We don't know. So coming to Sir Sushil Kumarji, you too. See, government agencies are spending huge amount of money on the CCTV and Safe City projects. From your experience, what differentiates a successful smart city from that one is technological rich?
Yes.
And also if you can add that what is the role AI should play into the public safety while you're having so much of data?
Yes. Sir, first thing is whatever you have experienced in Gurgaon yesterday with a larger company, that 2,000 cameras, there's no use of it. To me, there may be a reason that we should have a capacity to make use of the devices, to make use of the technology. It's not the fault of the technology that is lying unutilized. It is our problem. Why we are not building capacities? We should build the capacities. Second thing is, on the other hand, in Gurgaon itself, the GMB already has installed the more than 2,000 cameras. We have a larger, ICCC, and I think more than 15 to 20 use cases are being served to the public, to the police, to the hospitals, to the other bodies also. We have developed a capacity over the 5 to 6 years. And now we are at a stage of even identifying that, say for example, camera is placed on the MG Road metro station, and you want to know that at this point of time, tell me the number of persons who are wearing the red jacket. So that kind of, algorithm and analysis of the videos with the VMS systems we have planned, and we are going ahead. So it's all related with the capacity. Cameras are need of the hour, need of the day. We cannot say that if he are lying unutilized, we should throw them out. No, your peripheries. How you will protect your peripheries? How you will see the motions at the night side? Who are being intercepting? Who are being accidented? So there are so many other issues. So the first thing is, let's try to build the capacity. Let's start using the technology. Let's try and make use our own use cases. It's not the other countries or the other people will come to us and tell us our requirements. We will have to evolve our requirements. If we cannot devise, if we cannot, identify our own requirements, then it's of no use.
I have one more follow-up question on this with you. Are we utilizing the face recognitions with the police database with the criminals in the current CCTV surveillance system within the city? Are we utilizing that?
Yes. In the phase 1, we are also proceeding to the phase 2 now with a larger number of cameras, and we have a bigger plan of covering entire Gurugram periphery, the KMP, the NH and other more than 400 kilometers of roads of Gurgaon with the more than 10,000 cameras. This is one thing. Whatever you have asked is about the FRS, face recognition systems. We already have around 15 locations, the major important locations we have placed the FRS cameras. Presently it's for the use of the police, the criminal detections. They have provided with the say for around 3,000 plus identified list of the criminals, and they keep on updating on the daily basis. And that list is placed at the watch list of the cameras. And the cameras which are placed, as in the first session being asked, should be of that certified with some certain agency so that they cannot be spoofed off. We have cameras certified with the STQC and of the required technology specifications, so that the issue is not that out of the 3,000 criminal list cameras are not identifying. They're identifying. They're placing the records before the police. But the question comes in of the degree of acceptance. Say the correctness, it's a 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%. To what percent your camera resolution or the accuracy in identifying a face, that matters a lot. And sometimes it is acceptable than 80%. Camera is showing 80% accuracy, but at the same time, it shows that the person is not that. So major concern is just we'll have to improve the situation by utilizing the latest, cameras which are the edge computing. They are coming nowadays of the 12 megapixels, 16 megapixels of the larger aperture, the larger lens and focus sizes all. Along with, we'll have to have our algorithms to be strengthened in a more precise dimensions, with the more precise dimensions of the faces and others. Now the third thing, as you asked, sir, about the AI implementation. Yes, without AI we cannot work, or we will not able to work more, because in the previous session they have said that lot of alerts, lot of logs are coming in. How to analyze? How we'll analyze? How we'll take the corrective actions? How we'll improve upon our systems until unless we will not analyze the alerts and the logs? So at least for the purpose of analyzing the logs and take decision on the alerts on a very faster response, we will have to use the AI algorithms. And I recommend here that we should start using or making our own algorithms. We should not be depending upon the algorithm which are being, coming over the seas. Anything may be there that can be spoofed and can be, steal our data, or it can, different way can, give the threats to our data and the systems. So this is all my side.
No, thank you. And picking from you on the technology and the AI, I'll come to Mr. Kamal Pandey. India has actually, spent a lot of money and energy and resources on the technological improvement, and we have seen huge amount of technological enhancement right now. But what is the next breakthrough we are looking at? What is the next technology we are looking into? Keep pressing it.
Hello. So now the CCTV, the industry is evolving now. The technology has moved around the AI's era. So CCTV is now just the camera installation and taking the footage. Now the CCTV is doing the prevention maintenance and giving the pre-alarms, and post events search, and it is helping to the all activities, criminal activities, to search such kinds of precious things. And it is securing the next level of the urban and industries. You can say that now CCTV is going the upper level of things. Even the vehicle is running up to 150 kilometer high speed, and CCTV is capturing the number plates and giving at the control command center that this number plate has been passed at this time, this location, and things. So the easier to get the communicate and the whole intelligence via you are getting in the control room, which number plate it has been passed from these areas. And now another level of things CCTV is doing, integrated solutions. It is detecting the toll tax as well from the CCTV cameras and AIs. Similar level, we are talking about the border forces and the securities parameters. Now CCTV, earlier panelists was discussing, there is lot of AIs and alerts are coming how to identify which is the corrective action we have to take. So now the CCTV has been enhanced in another level of things. Whenever you are detected from the one cameras, fixed cameras detecting the incident, and it is giving raise alarms to the 360 moving PTZ camera, then that PTZ cameras start tracking that events, who is person is moving around the your border forces, and then it will be start tracking to the that person till he is there in the premises, and the simultaneously it will send to the your control command center pre and post recorded videos. So you will understand that person is there. It's not giving the only the alerts. This is the giving to you the simultaneously videos, so you can identify the human is there, vehicle is there, are the any person is moving. So that, those things level has been increased. Now another level of security enhancing, like the suspicious detection. Suppose you have the lot of data who is doing the suspicious activities. So we bring in these technology in our CCTV enhanced cameras. So you can put this some suspicious faces. Suppose you have in this around cities 10,000 faces are there. You can upload on the edge camera side, and camera whenever suspect person will come in the front, camera will start vibrating, and it is giving alerts to human who is bringing this device. Simultaneously communication module is there. It will send to the control command center. Kamal is there, who is suspicious for these activities. So now the AI has been easier to detect those things. Similarly, you are going on the highways, so you are crossing the lane violation system, you are bearing the seat belt or not, helmet you are bearing or not. So all those things, if you are not bearing, it will be give alerts to your control command centers. Just you have to monitor the limited things. You don't have to monitor the 4,000 cameras we are talking about, like the Gurgaon cities. So similarly, there is such level of AI has been increased, which can help to monitor and identify the things. Similarly, in the border forces, if you are talking about the parametric solutions, so now these CCTV and AIs has been integrated with the parametric fence and another integrated equipments as well. I'm giving the example, Chenab's Modi ji has inaugurated earlier. So there is the complete solution, cameras, video management, control command center, ICCC has been integrated. Another level of things, there is 14 type of another device, PA, PS, fire, environmental sensors, and another level of devices which is integrated and getting the live control command center alerts. So the AIs and CCTV has been improved and such level of things, and proudly we can see everything has been designed and developed in India. So I would like to talk about the Spurs. It's a domestic manufacturer company. We are manufacturing 25 years say CCTV in India. So we are manufacturing those level of AIs and products in house. So we are always challenging to the China. Just I tell the facial recognition system. So it has been designed, developed, and 100% algorithm in India. Similarly, in the CCTV cameras, we made the 500 meter in night vision for the parametric solutions. We are manufacturing the thermal cameras up to 3 kilometers to detect the human vehicles and suspicious, to get the all integrated in the control command center. So what is the benefit for our customers? The sometimes problem is happening when our customers, our government is still somebody is उनको foreign का जो अभी तक नहीं जा रहा है, that they are facing the problem even. Sometimes they are purchasing, the lack of the security is happening, they purchase X and Y product which is even they are not able to give the solution, and sometimes it is just useless the solution. That's why the domestic manufacturers better can give the solution. As I told, similar we have many lot of solution which is giving the parameters, forces, armies, defense, airports. We covered more than 55 airports across the pan India, and we are giving the whole solution, integrated cameras, video management software, and analytics solutions. So we would like to request similar, if anything challenging part is there, we are able to do customize. You believe us, the cameras which is installed in the power grids, there is the 440, 100 lines, thousands kilowatts line. What happening at their electromagnetic fields generating, but the Indian domestic, as we are experts, we are able to manufacture for their environments also cameras, somewhere the blast proof type of cameras and the AIs. Now what is the customer is getting, that is the important from the cameras. They are investing lot of money, as you said. So what is the results out of that cameras they are getting? So being a Indian companies, we are giving the, what is their challenges point. If borders wants, if anybody is entering in my premises, I should get the alerts. The false alert should not come. Then BDO will be helped if suppose you are putting the sensor, but sensor can detect the human, vehicles, animal, cat, dog, any kinds can be detected. But definitely the video footage and cameras can detect the actual things, human is hey, or vehicles or who is the person. So that type of AI already has been created, and the edge analytics also we created from the cameras. Now the from infrastructure side if you talk about, तो बहुत सारी सर्वर्स की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है. सम एनालिटिक्स हैज़ बीन कम नाउ इन द कैमरा साइड आल्सो. सपोज इफ टॉक अबाउट द नंबर प्लेट रिकॉग्नाइजेशन, फेस रिकॉग्नाइजेशन, those things has been implemented domestically in India on the edge sides. So now we can save the cost of the server, VMS, software and licenses. Those things has been integrated in the cameras itself. You can install these standalone cameras and you can get control rooms, all those informations. So next level of AI is, so human behaviors, things are coming. Suppose in the halls, anybody is we having suspicious activities, so cameras as Yan can get the alerts, and it can be detect which kinds of activities are suspicious activities he is trying to do. Similarly, many things has been implemented in the AI sides. Crowd detection sometimes happening, Kumbh Mela and things. So already government has taken so many initiation, and domestic manufacture, we are also working very closely with the governments. कि crowd detection itself it's the big things, so that has happening already. इतने भीड़ में भी persons को detect कर लेना and things, the accuracy level and the hardware and software improvements already has been done. So proudly we can say in the railways we are covering more than 55% railway station across the pan India. So the AI and VMS softwares and all those things are integrated and SCQC approved, and we look forward to work together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Kamal, for a very, very detailed, your sharing your views. Coming to Mr. Umar Farooq, you worked into global, scenarios. You worked and implemented projects across the globe, multiple countries. One, what are the global practices that we should be looking at? What are the best practices? Although Sushil sir just said that we should be developing our own algorithms and we should be developing internally, and Mr. Kamal Pandey also talked about indigenous cameras and creating everything in home. But of course, there are multiple things which from the best practice, global best practices we can learn. What are those things?
See, we have already, we have AI here. We have AI at the edge. We have AI as a server box separate for the existing cameras which are working. We have different type of analytics like FR, ANPR. We talk about traffic. We talk about, the critical infrastructures. We have developed use cases for all that industries. However, that the accuracy level which we are getting abroad is not here. That's very much true. And then if there is a NIST ranking for FR, basically, it's an international board who decides that which one is on the first level and second. So, however, we are very much far there on facial recognition. So it comes in 1:1 or 1:n ratio when it comes to facial recognition. So same happens to ANPR, same happens to detecting a number plate or a seat belt and all. But apart from that, our approach has always been what happened, We check the recording and we check what happened at this incident. But however, our approach should be how we avoid that being predictive, being proactive on any incident, how to stop from being it occur, So we are not in that phase. We should have to evolve with the technology and change our approach from incidents to happen first. This is very important. So AI plays a very important role. However, the AI use cases are there at the edge or at the premise, no matter that. But at the same time, behavioral human analytics, how we're giving an example of Middle East oil facilities or talking about European rail networks, they already have that optical character contrast analysis and radar fusion. For example, a camera picks up a vibration at a perimeter using a radar. Automatically what happens is it centralizes all the data and uses the AI analytics on top of it as a layer, and it already filters out if this vibration has happened because of a stray animal or a human itself. Okay, so our approach is very, we have not reached to that approach, honestly, but we have to change our approach as the technology evolves. It's very important. I really hope that we as India should set up a benchmark for indigenous, integrated technology for, perimeters. We really hope for that.
Follow up on this is, in India we don't have even the control and command centers talking to each other. There is one facility at one place which is secluded or working in silos, and the other one. In this, let me complete. In this scenario, how do we look at having a totally integration between CCTV, access control, drone, firefighting? Is that something which we are working on? Is that something we are looking ahead of?
Interesting question. It is just as asking me what is an organized brain and an individual organs, how it works. So definitely, what I think is individual organs are a liability, like individual systems we talk about is a liability. I'll give you a security example to it. For example, in any facility, if you have a fire alarm goes off and at the same time access control is locked. So it's a security concern, right? It's disaster actually, right? You have a fire and you are not going out, right? So this is a security concern. So integration plays a very important role. Integration of all the systems at the same time, which I mentioned in my first line, that the mass connectivity of devices are going ahead like anything in India. We need to take care of the cyber security like anything. It's very important, but government has already taken the steps towards it. That STQC has been enforced from the Ministry of Electronics since last year, which is a very good step. And we really encouraged that and we welcomed it. And all the CCTV cameras which are coming in the market, it's all STQC certified from whoever the vendors are providing it. Apart from that, as CP Plus, we bear a responsibility towards our users, that being the pioneers in CCTV manufacturing industry in India since very long time now. So we have developed a technology on top of STQC called CTC. That's a cyber technology core, which makes sure of the multiple authentication levels, the password authentication levels, the reboot, how the reboot systems will do. So it's more secure. We are trying, but at the same time, I'll tell that the threat levels are increasing. It's evolving. So we do also have to evolve as per the threats are evolving. It's very important.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. Sir, whatever you've asked about integration of ICCCs among the different cities across the country, it's a very, very valuable question, sir. And in this direction, of course, our government has started working. For example, MHA officers might be here, some of them, they have come up with a NetGrid solution, sir. It's already established here, the data center. And through that NetGrid data center, the request of different states with respect to the tracking of vehicles, with respect to identifying the people, are coming to the different ICCCs. I think you have understood. I want to give an example, sir. Suppose one vehicle lost in Ayodhya. So how the integration of ICCC will work, that Ayodhya stolen vehicles reports come to NetGrid. NetGrid pass on to the all ICCCs across country established through the API based integration. And there are 4-5 use cases that we have already implemented. What happens is we put that vehicle on the watch list. And as and when the vehicle tracked, a JSON is created and sent back to the NetGrid. But simultaneously, that vehicle may be wanted from Rajasthan also, from Kerala also. That's why we may get more than one request for a vehicle. And we keep tracking the vehicle in the watch list, and as and when it encounters that result as a response sent back to NetGrid, and NetGrid is a kind of buffer space with sharing the queries to the respective places. This is I think, a kind of integration being taken place. However, sir, camera level pay integration not possible at all, because cameras are installed in a particular network segment of IPs within a particular ICCC.
Yeah, no, my question was largely, I think this is a very big perspective which you're talking
Yes.
about. My question was particularly facility-wise, that if, like he said, that if there is a fire and the camera detects that fire, or the fire control detects that fire, the access control should be immediately opened. So those kind of integrations are also very important to be.
Yeah, sir, but that is within the purview of the ICCC, but
correct.
we have talked about the, across the cities integration of the
NetGrid is a wonderful
surveillance.
system, and
Yes.
the government has remarkably done well on that.
Yes, it has started working.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now coming to Shreya, to you. With the security, when we started with 3 Gs, guards, gates and guns, and now everything you talk about, you started with cameras, you started with everything, but it comes to AI. And everything turns about AI, and AI is a buzzword, everyone wants to listen to that, everybody wants to speak to that, right? So where is, beyond this hype, where is AI genuinely creating the measurable value in the physical security?
So when we talk about security, so first of all, the value is not replacing your security administration, right? The real value is created when it multiplies them. How? First of all, reducing the noise. As our previous co-panelist, Colonel Ranjan Bhatia also highlighted, that there are multiple alerts that happen, right? So we are implementing a solution for a pharmaceutical company, thousands of cameras, 2,000 alerts per shift, right? When we implement an AI video analytics platform, that reduces to 30. Now what happens is it improves the efficiency of the security team. Earlier, the kind of critical events they were missing, those don't happen anymore, right? So that's first, reduction of noise. That's the core value. The second is identifying the intentions. Now, as we said, the current weakness is knowing about the event or incident after it has happened. Now, how do we identify intentions before? Now, we are working with a real estate large infra company where we are identifying where there's signs of intoxication if a person is entering a certain perimeter, or if the staff is entering the unauthorized area. So detecting those signs early on and interlinking them in terms of identifying that they could be a possible malicious intent. So that is the second value, which is measurable. The third is ROI, but not the way we see it, not the way, the security has multiplied or improved. Now that we have the infrastructure, there's so much more we can do. Just imagine a healthcare camp or a hospital with the same CCTV infra. Now you can understand the occupancy levels. You can understand the patient inflow. So security infrastructure turns into business intelligence. And that's where the ROI also multiplies in terms of not only restricting itself to security, but much more.
Thank you. When you taken a name of ROI, we have an investor in the company, coming from the investors' side. And Ankit, coming to you, I would like to ask you that from the investor's perspective, which are the security technologies which are attracting the highest attention today? And also, India has built multiple brilliant startups. We have multiple unicorns which we have created now. What prevents them from becoming global security technological companies?
Looking at the overall landscape right now, the most exciting part of the sector right now is intelligence companies, especially the companies which are building software providing over-the-top kind of intelligence going forward with proprietary algorithms at the end of the day. As a matter of fact, as an investor, we have invested into a company called Easma AI that is building on similar intelligence layers for the airport, especially GMR in Delhi. With that kind of a software and a platform approach, high returns are possible for VC investors. As a VC, what I realize is that the business is limited, that we need to get returns within a time frame of around 5 to 10 years. That's the time frame which we are looking at. Looking at that kind of a short timeline, software companies make more priority for our venture capitalists. Hardware companies occupy the second priority for us. The problem there is it will take a lot more time for us to get returns out of it. More patient capital is needed for hardware kind of companies, but there is huge potential within India where indigenization of those components is happening. We have spoken with a lot of companies which are doing component level manufacturing for drones as well as for cameras at this point of time. But patient capital there would be needed for a period of around 8 to 13 years. So that's the second priority area. Now, looking at security as a landscape within India, it's a matter of both private entities on B2B level as well as it's a matter of concern for B2G on the government level as well. Looking at that landscape, majority of the buyers or procurement has been done on these two levels only. So that limits out the overall growth of our Indian security startups going forward. That's why we don't see huge outcomes or huge listings on Indian bourses right now. But what I see is as more and more intelligence or AI driven companies come in this particular landscape, we may be able to see those kind of large outcome companies. For example, I'll take an example of a Middle East company. Aramco, everyone is aware of as an oil giant, but they also own a subsidiary called Aramco Digital, which does a lot of industrial AI automation and security for their oil assets going forward. So it's essentially a security company working for a large oil major. Those kind of outcomes will be predictable within India as far as larger companies are concerned. Similarly, Vedanta has done fair bit of work on security by integrating a lot of domestic startups as a part of its initiative called Spark V and Spark Ventures. So under that, they are trying to come up with a business model where they will try and list on the stock exchange by coming up with a unified intelligence layer. So that's one way where we can see a $1 billion opportunity within India going forward.
Thank you. And now coming to Ravi. Drone threats have become a reality, and we have all talked about in the previous session. The border, the army, BSF, everybody is talking about it. But what about the industry? Is industry really ready to take those threats, and are they really capable of doing that? If yes, what are they doing? If no, what is the path forward?
Sure. I think actually the industries are now actually accepting, and the drone threats are, even satellite-based solutions are there now, and perimeter fencing is a major part, and industry facilities themselves have to, they are depending on satellite perimeter fencing, and we are providing those solutions also. And the sovereign domestic LLM layer, is going to be the one which is going to guard us, because there was pilfering of data in to other nations previously, and having our own data centers, our own compute layer, and of course our own proprietary software eventually is what is going to safeguard the industries. And even little bit of sensors are there, but if they work together, that is the whole cross sensor validation, that is with satellite, with drone, with CCTV, it forms a second brain. That is something which we are seeing in Claude and, like with Obsidian and Graphify, that is, we are now depending on the second brain. And I think that is what industry is now eventually going to depend on. They were earlier, using PLCs in their factories for their process automation and processes and, for home industrial automation. So now this will be like a second thing which they will go, that is, a platform for their satellite, for their perimeter clearance. So that is what we are offering as a services on lasava.org. It is like a second Google Earth, like a God's eye, which is, a cross sensor validation, which is using all your sensors, not only satellite drones, CCTV, but even your factory PLCs, even your factory doors, and even ultimately, I think even your smart watches eventually. So I think that is what the industry will become to, and I think that is what we have seen, major in self-driving evolution. We have seen that eventually software is the major problem, and software stack, anyone who can do that, earlier they put up a LiDAR and whatnot they put, eventually they realized we can have two cameras itself, because God has also given us two eyes, and that is how we drive cars and drive planes and everything. So eventually you need two vision systems, and basically AI like a powerful God, and I think that is what the industry is calling eventually is.
Sure, thank you. As much as I would like to, dwell into more and probably ask you much more questions, but I think we'll have to look at time. So I'll ask two questions to each one of you, rapid fire, and just one-liners, not detailed, just one-liner. So we'll start from here and we'll go like in queue, and other question we can come back from there, right? So one technology that will transform security by 2030.
Intelligence at edge.
I'll let you.
AI-driven algorithms will do it.
Intelligent AI integrated with the hardware.
Automation governed by strong intelligent layer, which is domestically owned.
Yeah, I think eventually everything is going to be AI, and encrypted via blockchain, and at an extremely less cost, everything automated, like our appliances have made us more. You can exponentiate it to the next 5 years, and everything becomes guarded by the same.
I think for me, I think it is how we can use less compute for more tokens. I think that's going to define the future.
And this one is my favorite, I love this question, and I would love to we'll start from there. One security myth you would like to bust?
That it is a hardware problem, eventually everything is a software problem.
Many a times people buying out cameras are under the fear that our feeds are being watched by someone abroad, or maybe someone is watching them on the dark web. I think a lot of Indian CCTV camera companies have tried to rectify it, but a lot more work needs to be done on that effort, just to make them more aware, customers more secure, not only at the B2B and B2G level, but at consumer level as well, so that people adopt this solution at the end of the day.
In the CCTV securities or in the industry, it's a very big myth, and in our governments as well. Foreign brand is the good in the quality, in the features, in the securities. This is the big myth, and I believe the government is taken the initiative now, and it will be filtered out from the minds. Thank you.
I so much agree with you. So much agree.
Yes, the same here. The impact of the AI is like deep fake.
Deep fake, yeah.
Deep fake is going to ruin us unless we take some action on it. And secondly, सर को एक और भी लाइकिंग होती है कि पासवर्ड 1 2 3 4 5 मैंने वो किया ही नहीं, मैंने नहीं किया, किसी और ने कर दिया.
So I would like to highlight one myth, like especially on ground, the bottom of the funnel, they feel that this will replace us, and that results in low adoption. bottom of the funnel. But one thing we need to take care of are the adversarial attacks on AI models. That can really create a false sense of security when it's actually not there.
Well, all the points are covered, by the way, but still, still a good percentage of people in India still thinks that CCTV is a luxury. Still, they think that CCTV लगाने से क्या होगा? तो कुछ नहीं है, तो लो लगा के रखो. I mean, चल भी नहीं रहा है तो तब भी चलो काम तो कर रहे हैं ना, पता चल रहा है.
Correct. Just one more question and then I'll come back to you. If we meet in 2030, what is that you hope to see transformation happening in the Indians' infrastructure, critical infrastructure?
See, first of all, CCTV is not a luxury, it's very much important. This is first. The second is, I really want to see that we create an indigenized, trusted core, cyber secure core, and trusted by design, basically the products for our people, the clients, the customers, our critical infrastructures, the borders. This is very much important, and as CP Plus, we try our best to, get up to the expectations of whatever is required in all kind of industries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So two things I would like again. One is an indigenous LLM that is being used and adopted by the industry, not only just made. And second is a visible system overall to a role-based visible systems across the country. Not just in parts and pieces, but really unified and having access to the right people.
सर, जब हम 2030 में मिलेंगे तो हमारे जितने भी क्रिटिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर्स है, वेदर इट इज़ द फिजिकल, वेदर इट इज़ डिजिटल, आपको सबका डिजिटल ट्विन मिलेगा.
In 2030 we believe कि इस इंडस्ट्री के सभी इंडस्ट्रीज में we will become आत्मनिर्भर, and most of things, most of components, most of the things will be designed, developed in India, as in the CCTV we are doing. We believe कि भारत एक आत्मनिर्भर की तरफ एक कदम बढ़ा चुका है, and then till the 30th we will become more stronger, more अपने footprint होंगे, and we will do for the world, not only India. Thank you.
By 2030, I believe that the Indian market, especially the camera on the hardware side, at least 60 to 70% should be governed by the Indian players having indigenized components. And secondly, as rightfully mentioned by the co-panelists, that at least indigenized LLMs, especially companies like Sarvam, they should be able to build products on the intelligence layer for our camera companies going forward. And lastly, since industrial automation has picked up in the Western markets, there are good players coming out of India as well. Those industrial automation players at least would be able to integrate with our domestic LLMs as well as camera companies.
Yeah, by 2030, I believe, humanity will be exponentiated much by AI, and, we'll all be living in harmony, having in abundance in everything, 100-story buildings, and, drones. We'll be flying in drones, and, like Sarla Aviation is bringing about, we'll have drone cabs, and, I think AI will be doing itself, like, Tesla doesn't even have a steering vehicle. So I think eventually everything will be done by AI itself, and, it'll have self-guided algorithms, and we will not need to monitor anything, not do anything, and it will be like a happily ever after.
Thank you. That's a good ending to anything happy ending, right? Thank you. Yeah, just one last question, and if it is a question, just to then only, yeah, please go ahead.
Okay.
After this, we can have
informal
discussions.
Very good afternoon to everyone, but I have a special question from Dr. Sushil, because I am also a doctor, so we can relate to what. Actually, many times it is considered that surveillance is just like stalking. So how will you differentiate between stalking and surveillance? Many times it's misunderstood, many times it's considered like it's equated also. So what's your take on this? How can we safeguard ourselves from being stalked? And even if somebody is doing some surveillance, we can secure ourselves through all these negative things.
Ma'am, please repeat the question. I couldn't understand properly.
How will you differentiate? How will you differentiate between stalking and surveillance? Stalking.
So shall I?
Or maybe
take
somebody
that?
else can answer.
Yeah, shall I take that?
Yeah, that's it.
We do surveillance on the physical side as well. We have an investigation company as well. So I can answer your question much more relevant. So when you're doing an individual follow-up for one single person, that is stalking. But when you're looking at largely the whole city, it's not stalking, it's just about keeping a track, and you're not looking at any individual. You're just looking at the whole data which is captured, and only the foul plays which are there, or there are red alerts, they are only flags. You're not looking at every single faces. When you're looking at a particular face, you're following it, that person, that's stalking.
Yeah, add on to this. See, what we have, the different kind of cameras and different type of algorithms are attached to the cameras. Say, we have the general surveillance cameras. We call it the GS cameras. They have general surveillance. People coming, going, crowd going, coming, and it's only watching and capturing the things. Now, stalking is a particular licensing algorithm is attached to a particular camera, say ANPR camera. It's only meant just that is focused on the lane. Any vehicle is coming, read the number plate. Just like that, any FRS camera is, focused to read the faces, to count the heads, just the color, like this. So this is general surveillance cameras. It's a general surveillance, and in case if you have managed a camera for a particular reason, that gives the stalking.
Now that stalking will actually, when it is done by government has all the authorities to do that, and the other person will not know it. So we can discuss it offline. I can speak for hours on this particular
Moreover,
subject.
your question is related with the somewhere, privacy and the confidentiality.
Actually, this topic needs a full day conference. I can ask
it's
PhD
a
to
very-
have a full day conference on that particular topic, on the privacy and how the DPDP Act impacts.
No, going forward, just मैं आपको बता दूं, still presently the government is, looking for the general surveillance of the general areas, the general buildings and on so forth. But in the time to come, they are going to capture the other residential areas too. And obviously it will be in the purview of the Privacy and the Confidentiality Act. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, panelists, for this wonderful session. Now, I would like to request Dr. Nasir Jamal, Director, PhD CCI, to facilitate our panelist and moderator with a memento. Shri Sanjay Kaushik, Managing Director, Netrika Consulting, India Private Limited. Dr. Sushil Kumar, Head IT Governance and Advisor and Head Smart City Division, Gurugram and Faridabad Metropolitan Development Authority. Shri Omar Farooq Ji, General Manager, Aditya Infotech Limited. Ms. Shreya Agarwal, Director and Chief Product Officer, Think Future Technologies. Shri Ankit Harjai, Principal Investment CIO, Mount Tech Growth Fund Kavach. Shri Asif Ravi, Director, Lasavo Private Limited. And Shri Kamal Pandey Ji. I request everyone for a group photo, please. Pulkit. Thank you. I request everyone for a lunch.